All right, good afternoon or good evening to everyone out there on the web and also listening on shortwave. This is the Amateur Radio Roundtable. Today is Tuesday, March the 1st, and we welcome everybody with us. I'll introduce my special guest here in a minute, but we've got a couple special guests on here tonight. Just a couple of things I wanted to let everyone know. We changed the shortwave frequency starting tonight. It's going to be on 5130. As you know, we were on 5110, but somehow the U.S. military said they need that frequency. I don't know why. There's a lot of frequencies out there, but we didn't argue with them. We said, okay, so we're on 5130 now. Don't know how long that'll last, but we'll see. We got our co-host Frank Howell K4FMH is back with us again tonight, and he has a special guest he'll bring in just a few minutes. I've got Glen Popiel KW5GP. Sitting with me tonight in studio. What are we in, studio 2?
I don't know. You put us here.
We're normally in studio 6, but we're in studio 2 tonight. And you can see the background. We got a neat studio. So we're going to get into some neat Arduino projects in a little while. Just a couple announcements. We didn't have a show last week. My mom passed away last Tuesday. So we did not have a show there. In fact, we were out the entire week before that. Many of you know her and talk to her in the chat room. She's been in the chat room nearly every major event like the Dayton Hamvention or Huntsville. It went by the name Granny. So I know many of you talk to her, and I'm sure she's watching tonight. She probably has the gigabit internet access tonight, so she's watching tonight. So let's see. If you will. If you have not joined us on Facebook, at the top of our page there's a link to join our webcast broadcast group, W5KUB.com. Please join that because you'll see all kinds of pictures from different shows we have, and it's just a good ham radio hangout. Also, we send out a mailing list to about 5,000 or 6,000 people every week before the show, letting you know what show's going to be on and who's going to be on it. So click the link up there and join our mailing list. If you don't like it, you can always unsubscribe. I think that's about all the announcements I've got tonight. So I want to take it over to Frank Howell and let him. Well, let's see. Let me just go to Frank first. Let's go out here to Frank. I've got to click a couple buttons here. There we go. Hey, Frank, how you doing, man?
Hey, Tom. Listen, I'm doing great, and let me speak for all of our viewers. I know that we've all been praying for you, and we want to give you our thoughts and just special prayers for you, Tom. It's something that many of us go through, but it doesn't make your path any easier. So I just want you to know you've been in our hearts and our minds. So I want to begin with that. But I'm doing great this evening. Hey, I want to show you. I've got a new friend in the shack.
What do you got? Oh, I like that.
Look what showed up in the mail. Don Moore out at Com Radio sent a CR1A. This is a SDR with a stinking knob. Now, how about that?
Oh man,
gonna make friends with this one and talk about it in the future. But it's very small. I'm gonna put it next to my Drake RA shortwave receiver in a future review, and that'll be coming up in a show in the future. So, Tom, listen, it's great to be here with you, and I know you've got a great show here with Glenn. But first, I want to kind of steal some thunder. We have a very special guest here with us tonight. Last time I was on, we introduced our headlining sponsor, CQ Magazine, and we've got the editor, Rich Moseson. Rich, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here, and even have a copy of CQ available for you.
You bet.
I'm waiting on my copy.
Like the copy that hit my Zenio inbox on my iPad this afternoon.
Yeah, this is the March issue, and it's in the mail now to print subscribers, and digital subscribers have it already.
And I have gone to digital in my case, enjoy it. And you know what I really like about the digital? You can tap the embedded URLs, go look at your advertisers or the embedded links in a story, and kind of come back right where you left off.
Excuse me.
Got it. We're delighted to have CQ.
Great things about.
What's the big news on this issue? Tell us what's the big pitch from this issue?
Well, this issue kind of put itself together in a few ways. Sometimes this happens. We have some issues that are intended to have a special focus, like our QRP special or Take It to the Field special. And some of them just organize themselves into one, and this was one of those. This turned into a continuing education special. We've got just a variety of pieces that came together on that general topic. My editorial is called Those Three Little Words, which, since this is not the February issue, are actually I don't know, and where to go from there. We have a report from an IEEE convention by Tom Smirk, AA6TS, one of our contributing editors. I did a photo essay on a visit to a ham radio manufacturer's day at one of our dealers. Another contributing editor, Wayne Yoshida, KH6WZ, did a report on microwave update, and Corey Sickles, WA3UVV, who does our emergency communications column and off the air, did his off the air column this time on continuing education in general, different ways of learning and of approaching new things. So that's kind of spread throughout the magazine. Our cover story is on using drones to track interference, a new application for drones and combining them with ham radio. Put a drone with a first-person view camera on it into the air, and you can use it to track down the source of interfering signals, and saves a lot of gas from driving around trying to track them down. We've also got a couple of articles on space weather and propagation. Our learning curve editor does a general introduction to space weather and how it affects propagation on Earth. And then our propagation editor, Thomas Hood, does a little more of a focus on gray line propagation and what you can expect with that. We also have the history of quad antennas, which should be of great interest to our shortwave listening audience here, and to our shortwave listeners among our readers, because it was invented by the chief engineer of HCJB, a station most of us grew up listening to on the shortwave. What else do we have? We've got results of the 2015 CQ Worldwide RID DX contest for all you teletype fans. And we started a 3-part series on the history and future of Army Mars. It's 90 years old, and most people are familiar with Mars for its historical work during the Korea and Vietnam Wars and sending Marsgrams and doing phone patches. And our author, who is a former public information officer for Army Mars, brings us into a little bit of where its future is heading, which is a whole new area in cyber defense. It's taking on a new and very important role.
I'm going to pick up on two of those elements.
Sure.
One, your editorial. One of my little observations, I'm a retired sociology professor, and studying groups all my career and that sort of thing, and certainly ham radio is a big group. We suffer from what I call hardening of the categories, and that I don't know category is one that you touched on in your editorial. And very often we have little games of I know something and you don't know it. And we're often too embarrassed, I guess, to admit, hey, I don't know what that is. And it's probably the best thing we can ever say to someone else is, hey, tell me about that, because I don't know. And I think your editorial was spot on.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I mean, one of the great things about ham radio and hams that I've always seen is our willingness to share our knowledge and our experience with each other. You go to other types of groups, and you don't really find that same willingness. And it's something that makes hams and ham radio very special, as far as I'm concerned, is that willingness to share. But still, too many of us, and a lot of newer hams in particular, but a lot of old timers as well, are afraid to say I don't know about something and to ask, because there's this feeling that, well, I should know everything. And ham radio is such a broad and diverse hobby that it really is impossible to know everything about everything. So we have the advantages either in our clubs, person to person, or in a program like this that reaches a wide audience, of having people with expertise in all sorts of different areas being willing to share that and help answer questions. But you have to be willing to say, I don't know first, before you can find out what you want to find out.
So some of the work I did while I was an ARL district or division official at some surveys showed that people who participated in clubs were just up on more stuff, just as a general comment. And that's not a shocker, but many of them have been turned off by clubs. And so one of the missing ingredients was that culture of sharing. And perhaps, unfortunately, some clubs may not have that, according to some of the survey results. So you've really touched on something that is an individual mandate to say, I don't know, but also from club programming to realize collectively we don't know either. And so to provide good programming each month or each week or whatever the frequency of the club meeting is a great thing. So I think your editorial this month is kind of a call to action, certainly by clubs who provide programming. I want to switch gears to your quad antenna. I grew up in rural Georgia, and there was a missionary named Michael Guido, who's called the Sower, and he was from Metter, Georgia, but he was on HCJB. And he's passed away now. And on I-16 in Georgia, there is a small park dedicated to him near Metter, Georgia. And I always put those two together. And it was just a kind of a bittersweet memory for me to read that article this afternoon about the quad antenna and how it came to be as a replacement for the transmitter in Quito, Ecuador, to kind of prevent some RT. So for those of CQ Magazine subscribers or perhaps periodic readers, if there have been shortwave listeners, that's an article they'll definitely want to read, because it really harkens back to kind of the mainstream of shortwave listening in the 60s and 70s.
Hey, let me.
Absolutely.
I just want to jump in. You're talking about HCJB and the invention, I guess, of the quad, and I was surprised to know that that's the guy that I think that invented it down there at HCJB. And in fact, that's one of the stations, one of the shortwave stations I've contacted to see if we can't get our show running on HCJB. Like you were talking about, all of us grew up, and 50 years ago, that's one of the stations I used to listen to all the time, and man, it really boomed in.
Well, I think part of the reason that it boomed in was that quad antenna. They had some difficulties with the very thin air at the high altitude that Quito is at, and they had arcing off the tips of their Yagi, and it was causing corona. And in order to get around that, the chief engineer, whose name is escaping me at the moment, went off on a retreat for a couple of weeks and thought and studied and looked and came back and came up with the concept of the quad, and which of course has no tips on it, no points for corona to be discharging from, and gave it a try, and lo and behold, a new antenna was born.
And it made an immediate impact in CB radio. I remember when the Moonraker was kind of a quad-based antenna, but with a part Yagi, part quad. and it found an immediate home back in the CB craze. Well, I wanted to just point out just those two. But Rich, as we close out this segment, we look forward to having you on every month to talk about what's the latest in CQ magazine. But not every one of our viewers understands fully that CQ is not just CQ magazine. You have many other publications, and you also sponsor a lot of important contests. Can you give us the elevator pitch on those two parts of your publishing house?
Sure. At the moment, CQ is our only magazine. The economic realities of the past several years forced us to consolidate our other magazines into CQ. But we still have a broad library of books and CDs and DVDs on all sorts of different ham radio topics. And our calendars, and of course on the air we sponsor probably over a dozen different events and activities. We have the world's most popular contest, the CQ Worldwide DX Contest, in 3 flavors, CW, single sideband, and radio teletype. We have the WPX contest, which also has 3 different weekends per mode. We have our 160 meter contest, VHF contest, and we have a wide-ranging award program, the CQDX Award, the CQDX Field Award, Worked All Zones, which is the second oldest actively running award program in amateur radio after Worked All Continents, and USA Counties Award, and I'm probably blanking on something here. Oh, the WPX Award. So we have, between the awards and the contests, we are pretty much on a par with what the variety that ARRL offers without having the large organization behind us. And again, our contests are the most popular in the world, particularly the CQ Worldwide.
Well, you certainly add a rich diversity and variety. Now, you mentioned the WAZ. Now, who's the manager of that award?
The manager of the WAZ Award is John Bergman, KC5LK.
And you said that's the second oldest award program?
Right. He's not the second oldest award manager.
Well, but that's why you chose my close friend and colleague here in Jackson, because he's probably the second oldest ham alive today, and so it's very appropriate that he be the award manager. So I'll have to mention that you confirmed that. I've got a QSL on why he's that manager. Listen, I will end with another little bit of humor with this segment, Rich, and one of the hallmarks of CQ Magazine is it's not the button-down, suit and tie magazine. It's a little more open collar. You got people like Gordo West that occasionally takes his shirt off and has a picture of it in your magazine on the beach. So I'm going to end with this. I want you to ask your advertising manager, who lives in Lexington, Kentucky, Charlie Payne, what's wrong with Kentucky basketball?
I will definitely pass that on to Charlie and let him answer you. And by the way, speaking of advertising, I just want to show everybody that you guys are front and center in the March issue with a beautifully done ad, and we're glad to have you there.
Right. Hey, that looks really good. I haven't gotten my CQ yet, but I was anxiously awaiting that to see our ad in there. It looks good.
It's there, and it's in living color. And I will note that Charlie got it in Kentucky blue. I just want to point that out. So, and then, look, Rich, we're going to have you on every month, and we're going to talk about CQ Magazine and let people know what's in that issue that's heading their way now. Tom, I'm going to turn it back to you. You've got a great guest in your studio, and I know you've got a lot of good stuff to tell us about. Rich,
yeah, well, I do, but
month.
first let me say this. I forgot to mention this a while ago, but Joe K0NEB writes the kit building article for you guys, Richard, in your magazine every month.
Yes.
And Joe's a regular on our show here. He's always showing kits on our show, and I think maybe next week he's going to show some pictures of a number of Hamfest that he just has attended in the last few weeks. So, Rich, thank you very much for coming on, and looking forward to talking to you again and finding out, what's coming up each month in the magazine.
Okay, well, I've got a sneak preview of April for you. We're going to have something completely different. Every April we have an article by Professor Emil Heiseluft. And this year, this is the 40th anniversary of his first article in CQ. And this time we are interviewing Professor Heiseluft and learning some of his secrets. So that's something to look forward to in the April issue.
Well, that sounds interesting. We'll be looking forward to that. All right, thank you, Rich. And we're going to let you go, and we're going to move on into our Arduino segment. How do you say it? Arduino?
Arduino.
Arduino.
Yeah. Arduino. Italian.
Okay, we're going to move into that. And Rich, thank you again. And Frank, you're going to stick around with us. And if you want to pop in, you can pop in, okay?
All right.
But it's going to be mostly Glen here. Now, let me just introduce Glen here. Glen is the author of the book Arduino for Ham Radio. Arduino for Ham Radio.
Arduino for Ham Radio.
Arduino for Ham Radio. And he has written a really nice book. And he's got, in fact, we had a 2, 3, or 4 hour show.
3-hour live show last time.
He came in and showed all those projects that's in the book and how he builds them. And there's some really interesting projects that he's got. Now, he was again at Dayton this last year and took one of his little projects he built, and you have to tell us about that. You came in first place in first in show or something, didn't you?
Yeah, at the QRP Archie convention there called 4 Days in May. They have a homebrew contest, and one of the projects I brought tonight actually won Best in Show at that event. And we'll be showing that off in just a few minutes. We'll kind of build up to it. One of the reasons, I've kind of disappeared from the planet for the past year and a half thereabouts. You've been trying to get me here half a dozen times. The reason I disappeared is I have been writing another book. That is totally different topic. It's not Arduino. It's actually the microwave networking. You'll hear it sometimes called mesh, which is really not accurate anymore. But Steve Ford, ARRL Publications Director, cornered me at the Centennial about a year and a half ago and asked if I could do a book on this microwave technology. And silly me said yes. And that's where I've been for the last year and a half. I just finished it. I'm waiting to see the cover now, and it's going to be out in time for Dayton. I'm looking forward to it, and no sooner did I turn that one in than they said, okay, now we want another Arduino book. So what we're going to see tonight are a couple of the projects I've got planned for that book.
All right, well, I'm trying to get some lower thirds up here. Not sure where they are, so we'll continue. Now, you bring something to show us tonight, right? We're going to see a lot of things. Are we ready to? How you want to jump into this?
Well, let's go ahead and I need to show you. We probably need to hit that video.
Oh, your
video.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just to show the comparison here.
All right, here we go. Now, okay, guys, I want you to look at. Before we run this short video, I want you to look at this guy. Now remember, the white mustache, the white hair, the lab coat. I want you to remember that.
Yeah, we'll frizz the hair up a little bit too.
Yeah, so here we go, and see if this looks like anybody that you might know. Here we go.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Okay, now, did anybody see the resemblance there of the guy, the
cat is connected to the computer.
All right, I just want you to know that that was not, well, I'm looking for my mic, test 1, 2. I don't know if my mic's working or not.
I don't think yours is. You're probably picking up through me.
You know what? I never turned my
You never
mic-
turned it
I
back
never-
on.
I never turned my mic back on now.
Now they've been hearing through me.
Boy, I tell you, I don't know how those guys heard me. Probably they're hearing me through your mic.
Yeah.
Well, that's a blooper for the show. I guess you guys were hearing me okay. So anyway, the show continues. But Glenn does look a lot like the guy there with the cat and the computer.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and
All right,
fire up over here.
So Glenn's got a few pictures here we want to show you first, and we're going to jump right into them. Let's see, Glenn.
Wherever he's got so many screens here, it's absolutely amazing how he
Yeah.
keeps it straight.
Yeah.
Won't anybody help him either?
No.
Well,
I don't think anybody can.
It's a 1-year learning curve. Okay. That's not it. Hey, how you doing, Frank?
Hey.
No, you're looking
All right,
for
here we go.
that one. There
That
you
one
go.
right there. All right, and you've got the.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
You know, instead of one cat in the commercial, I decided to up it. We have 2 cats connected to the computer. These are my 2 latest kittens. These are what they call Maine Coon kittens. The scary thing is this was taken several months ago. They are almost twice that size. And as you can see, there is absolutely no working on the computer when these guys are on the computer on that desk. It's just not going to happen.
I will say for you guys that tuned in maybe a month ago, 2 months ago, when we first got our phone lines installed, the ring was so loud that it blew everybody's speaker out, and it made Glenn's cats jump off the table, and they took everything that was on the table with them. All right, so go right ahead, Glenn.
Okay. First thing we're going to talk about is a couple projects for the book. Those of you that saw this month's QXT saw a very similar article on a 40-meter CW transceiver. I actually met with Dr. Purdom. We hung around together at the FDIM event in Dayton last year, and we shared some ideas, and he told me he was building one, and I had this one here on display. And what we have here, this is actually a 40-meter QRP transceiver with a built-in keyer, adjustable speed, and it tunes the entire 40-meter band. It's got dual speed tuning, dual speed RIT.
Let's see if we can get a close-up with the other camera here.
Close-up with it.
Oh, okay. Well, all I have to do is find the camera.
You got to find the
There,
key.
there it is. There it is, right there.
Okay, and this is the actual rig. Let's adjust the camera here a little bit. And
So that's pretty cool. Now,
it's complete 40-meter coverage.
and
with
in Arduino style, you press the button there to change the step, right?
yeah, all you got to do
tuning
is press the encoder, and it will adjust the stepping speed. And it's got a built-in keyer, and on the back here, there's your keying speed, an Arduino port if you want to do things, other than program it, and our headphone port.
Watch the camera on you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much the whole thing. I
That's
call
the
this a
whole
cube radio. The cool thing about this is this was built using those little Chinese transceivers that you and I talked about a year ago.
Right.
And I tied the DDS in, the Arduino in, and gave it that nice little Nokia display.
Well, let's talk about the cost of this. The
Yeah.
40-meter transceiver is probably, you might can find it for $10. I don't know. You remember what it was?
What?
The transceiver, the 40-meter.
Oh gosh, it was like, I just bought a couple the other day for some new projects. They're like $12.
$12.
a piece.
$12. Okay. Now what else you got in here? You got
I've
you
got an
Uno.
Arduino that is now $3.40.
You got a $3 Arduino.
I've got a little Proto Shield, which is about $3. I've got a DDS, which is $10.
And in your display.
And this is a baseball trophy case from
Yeah.
Hobby Lobby, place like that. And just mounted it all. Everything fits, and there's plenty of room for more in there.
So the total cost of this thing is about $50.
Including the case. The case is
Yeah.
about $5 or $6. And
And wow, it looks so good. It looks really neat.
I did not enter this one in the 4 Days in May homebrew contest because of the other one. What I'd like to do, if we can go back over
Okay.
to the
I can do that.
there. This is the actual transceiver kit as you get it from eBay. Like I say, it's about $12. The instructions for these are absolutely hilarious. It's worth the price of the board just to read the instructions. For example, it talks about
Welding?
welding, and you don't want to have it no dummy load, but it says shorted key launch carefully damaged. Now, I don't know how you carefully damage something, but
Yeah, well, when I built mine, I didn't have a welding torch that worked on the small
yeah.
parts there. So.
Well, you got to be real good. I mean, it takes a lot of, you got to get that welding torch just right.
So Glenn, they're asking us about links for this. Now, we'll put the links on our W5KB.com Facebook group. We'll have the links there, and probably by tomorrow we'll have all the links on there. So join our Facebook group, click the link at the top, join it. That's where you'll find the links to all this. And you'll also be able to communicate with Glenn there. If you have any questions about these projects, Glenn's on the Facebook group, and he always talks Arduino with you guys.
Yeah. Now, you're asking if this is the V4 Pixie. It's very close. This is the Chinese 49er. In fact, they call this one the Frog Sounds, I believe,
Yeah,
or the
Frog
Frog's
Sounds.
Calling. There's two. We'll see the other one here in a minute, but this is little Frog Sounds. If you just go on eBay and look up QRP Frogs, and you'll be taken right to these little radios. And as you can see, there's really not a whole lot. Yes, it's a direct conversion to an NE602. It's got a 7.023 crystal for the receive, and one of the mods I had to do to it, we actually removed one of the crystals and replaced it with an LC circuit to widen it up so that it'll cover the whole 40-meter bend. And I'm getting these back in the lab. I have some more ideas to play with. I don't want it just to be 40 meters CW. I'd like to see about some other bands and tinkering, because it's just a really cool platform to play with as an experimental radio. Now, this is what the block diagram looks like. We've got our...
Let's see, block diagram.
You got to kick me back over.
Okay, I'm almost there. Nope.
Nope, wrong one. You keep going to Frank.
There we go.
This is the block diagram. It's an Arduino Uno and a prototyping shield. I've got an 809850 and a buffer amp, and then our little QRP transceiver board. And then that's pretty much it, a Nokia display. And then this is the mod that I currently have on the receiver that replaces the crystal. This came out of, I can't remember the gentleman's, but it was somebody's article that I saw, and I pulled it. I'm not real happy with it at this point. I've got a lot of broadcast interference, so I'm going to
You need a filter.
need a BCI
broadcast
filter, and I got the parts coming in for that, and I'm going to redesign this filter here. For the DDS, I got a really nice piece of code from Paul Darlington, M0XPD, has written a nice DDS library that's very easy to use, and I got to meet Paul up at the 4 days in May, and we had a blast. And go ahead and cut us back over.
Okay. Now, some people here are saying they're not on Facebook, so don't let that worry you guys. If you'll email me, we'll get this to you. Just email tom@w5kub.com. Again, there's a link at the top of this page for my email. So just email us, and we'll get you the information that you need to construct this thing.
Yeah, and Chris, we'll talk about the SI5351 in a minute. The main issue I have with that is that's a square wave only. The AD9850 does a sine wave, and I'm worried about harmonics and things like that. I mean, this is a cheap radio. It doesn't have a lot of, high tech to keep it clean. So at this point, I'm staying with the 9850. It's a beautiful, beautiful sine wave. And if you'll take me on back over here, this is what it actually looks like. You can see I got a transmit and receive, the step speed, and I've even got my battery voltage. I've got a little battery pack at the bottom of this powering this whole radio. And I mean, you can, let's not switch back, but okay, and there's a side view of it. And then there's the actual schematic. Keep in mind that this is going to be in my next ARRL book. That's going to be coming out in March for the Arduino, March of next year. This year it's going to be, that book is called High Speed Multimedia for Amateur Radio, and that's about the microwave networking. That will be at Dayton this year, I hope.
You know, one of the things I want people to look at this diagram, because if you have never worked with Arduino, you think it's real complicated. When you see all those drawings there, that's not many parts. For instance, they're little modules, and all you do is connect it up with 3, 4, 5 wires. In fact, I built a Arduino CW reader, Arduino, a little monitor chip, and I think it had 3 parts.
Yeah.
It had 2 resistors and a capacitor. That was the whole thing. So these things are very easy to put together.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's only a handful of wires on that guy, and it's very quick. I mean, it took me like a weekend to put it all together. And there's a question, yeah, the NE602, I haven't gotten into it that deep. The problem is the transmit side is directly out, and it doesn't use the 602, so you're hitting a square wave onto your power amplifier, and that's going to create your harmonics. So that's why, at this point, I'm sticking with a pure sine wave.
I would like to go sine wave. I think that's the way to go.
So that's my personal point at this point, personal position at this point. So let's stay and talk about this guy for just a few more minutes. Like I say, I had this up at Dayton, and yeah, Dr. Purdom and I ran into each other, and we had a nice talk and everything. And theirs is virtually identical. They do a few things different than I do. We shared some ideas. I mean, Tom and I had talked about this many times about wouldn't it be cool if, and that's where this came from.
And you know, all the stuff is open source,
Right.
and all the parts are interchangeable, and you just take something somebody's done here for the VFO input or the DDS here or this there, and
Exactly.
build your own.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. There's no, real thing about somebody stealing somebody else's design or whatever. It's open source. Share it. But I think it's interesting to see the 2 separate designs are actually virtually identical with how they ended up coming out. And so, I mean, that's just the way it works. I mean, we both use the same parts, and there's only about 8 or 10 wires, so I mean, it's hard to get it wrong. But anyway, that's the little 40-meter QRP rig.
I like it.
Now we're going to talk a little bit different here. Oops, I forgot I had that plugged in. This is a cute little toy that we had come up with. Some of you will recognize this as the Ten-Tech Rebel. I'm part of a group. We call ourselves the QRP Skunk Works. And you were talking earlier, Rich and Joe, about, or Frank and Joe, about the I don't know factor. I was invited to do an Arduino forum over in the Huntsville Ham Fest, and one of the things that came out was at the end of the forum, somebody come up and asked a simple question. This is where we introduced the Rebel, and they said, "Can it do JT65?" And I just looked up and I said, "I don't even know what JT65 is. Explain it to me." And they gave me a quick explanation on JT65, and the gears started working, and it literally came out as, if you can do this, 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 and this will work, and that will work, yeah. The scary thing about that statement, this is a CW only rig. How do you get the 65 tones for JT65 out of a CW rig? Yeah, you know.
I don't know.
How?
It goes back. I mean, in all my experience, what you do, you just offset the frequency shift by, 100 cycles. That'd be a 100 cycle tone. 600 cycles would be a 600 cycle tone. So
because of my experience with RTTY and the old FSK frequency shift keying, my brain said if you can frequency shift key this thing fast enough, you can do it.
Well, the RTTY, you have 2 tones, your mark and space tone, and on JT, I've never worked JT65, but how many tones did it have? But like 65 tones. So you're going from RTTY, which has 2 tones, mark and space tone, to JT65. You just do 65 shifts instead of 2 shifts.
Yeah, the key is there's a lot more involved in calculating the JT65 because the vast majority of the JT65 data is error correction. So you've got to have a computer to calculate all that. But anyway, our group took that as a challenge, and we brought Joe Large, W6CQZ, the writer of JT65HF, and we got that going, and we actually got it working on the Rebel using that design. And what it is, there is no microphone to this. We use the USB port to send commands to the Rebel's DDS to shift the frequency. So we ended up with a working JT65 box, and that is, pretty much where we came from. Then it was, okay, I've got the Rebel. Now when Tom and I got into these little boards, the next statement was, and this is the most dangerous thing you can ever hear me say, wouldn't it be cool if we could get those little Chinese boards to do JT65? So let's go ahead and get back onto the PowerPoint. First of all, we'll talk a little bit about what is JT65. It was developed by Joe Taylor, K4FMH, primarily for EME, the moon bounce communications. It's got an extremely low data rate. We're talking about 3 words a minute with error correction out the wazoo. It's perfect for signal to noise, very low levels, QRP. It's got like a 25 dB advantage over CW. Now what this means is you can't even hear the signal and you're still working. In JT65, if you're running more than 25 watts, it's the equivalent of running 1500 watts. They really prefer you to run 25 watts or lower, and really 5 watts or less is the preferred JT65. So everybody's on an equal footing. If you hear them, you can work them.
Does high power overload it or anything? Does it cause problems?
Yeah, high power will just basically splatter, because the JT65, you have multiple communications happening simultaneously. Mm-hmm. So if you got one ultra high power signal, you're going to wash out everybody else in the JT65 band or area, just like you would in PSK. If you've got a high powered PSK signal come in, it washes out everybody on either side. Mm-hmm. It takes about 6 minutes to do a JT65 QSO. But again, it's generally done with a PC, a sound card, and a sideband rig. Well, we do it with a PC, a sound dongle just for our receive side, and a CW rig. And one of the things that lets us do, but there's our Rebel that we were talking about. This is the concept that we're going to come up with. The Rebel is using the chip kit Uno 32 to match that timing and everything. We switched, and it does run an Uno 32. It's got the prototyping shield, but it's got that same Chinese transceiver board. This one is using the Frog Sounds version 3 that you can find on eBay. But it's the same basic concept, except now we got a USB link to our PC and receive audio to the PC. There's our board, virtually the same one that we got before. And there's what the prototype looked like when I had it on the bench. Yeah, Tom's got a board right here. But that's what the prototype looked like on the bench. And
this one?
You want to switch back?
Yeah, let me switch the camera here. This is you want to try the small camera?
Yeah.
Let's go to the hand camera, and we'll see. There we go. I'll just lay it here.
Okay. And there is the little itty bitty board. It's hard to get focused on.
Yeah, it's got a lot of little parts on it.
Yeah.
Like you say, the Chinese instructions aren't real clear.
But it takes about a day to build these. They're not very hard to build. Even though we make fun of the instructions, the boards are silk screened and very clearly laid out. This is the actual little Pixie that we were talking about earlier. It doesn't have the, there's a second IC that they have in there. Mm-hmm. But that's basically the little boards we're talking about. It takes a weekend to build.
Yep.
And the bench is too clean because I've taken it over. You'll see in a minute. You should see what's over here behind us, okay? But we'll see that in a minute. But let's go ahead and switch back to the video here. This was my proof of concept. What I did is I took our JT65 Rebel code that Joe Large had written. He'd written the PC component that he called HFWST, which is JT65HF. It was called Phoenix. It was JT65HF written custom for the Rebel to send the command codes rather than the transmit audio to the Rebel. And I took that code and modified it using, again, Paul Darlington's DDS library. And with that, basically, this, what you're seeing on the screen, emulates a 40-meter 10-tech Rebel running our JT65 code. And the question now is going to come up, does it work? And we're about to see that in a minute. The reason I'm using the Uno 32 is that is what the Rebel uses, and because of the code that Joe wrote, Joe is no longer writing for this, so what we've got is what we've got. The source in Pascal is available, but I don't know anybody that writes in Pascal anymore. So when Joe stopped writing, what we have is what we have. It's functional code. It works well. I like it. But to keep the timing straight and the processing speed of handling everything, we're using the Uno 32. That being said, we've got our little guy right here. This is our 40-meter JT65 transceiver. It costs a whopping $65 to build.
But I'm sure you could hold the cost down lower than that.
Yeah,
shopping for parts.
Don't put it in a baseball trophy case.
Yeah. Sure.
But realistically, I mean, it's using the same.
Watch the camera. Yeah.
It's using the same transceiver board, and I've got my DDS. I'm kind of hard to turn it around, so let's try doing this way. There's the DDS module in the back there, and it's all tied together. And now we'll swing over here. Y'all get vertigo and stuff. This is the PC component that we've had running in here. And this is what we have been hearing on this little rig, this little itty bitty direct converted radio.
Now that radio is actually hooked up, the one you just showed them.
Yes.
That is what they're seeing right now. All those waterfall signals.
They're on 40 meters right now.
Yeah.
We're using your...
a delta loop maybe?
No,
or
the other one.
The inverted V.
We're using your 8040 inverted V.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see, we're hearing Cuba, Papa Yankee 2. I forget who that is.
Papa Yankee 2.
That's Brazil.
We saw
And Guadalupe's there. Cuba's there.
Venezuela.
I saw Alaska there a little while ago. This is what this little itty bitty board is, hearing. And
this entire JT65 transceiver could just about fit in your pocket.
yeah.
I mean, this thing is small.
I mean, I put it in the cube just to show it off. This was planned to be the entry at the 4 Days in May homebrew contest, and it won. It took best in show. I have other ideas. There's still refinements to do to this. This will be a project that's in the next book that I'm starting to work on now. And so now, this is the actual original build testing back on January of last year. And you can see, and there's your transmit. We're not going to transmit tonight because that was just going to take up too much time. We don't want to blow 6 minutes trying to make a JT65 QSO from here. But I had my FT950 powered up and decoding JT65, and sure enough, I can see my transmission. And there's the actual schematic. That look at the number of wires there. We talk about the Arduino, and everybody says building things is difficult and hard. And you're talking just a handful of wires and basic components, a couple transistors, very quick and easy to do. I mean, that whole interface board can be built in a weekend. And we'll hold off on that one for a few. But Yeah, but wait, if you order now, we'll even throw in the CW rig for free. But seriously, this is one of those, you have to stop and think, what in the world did we just do? Go ahead and, yeah. We just took a CW rig and turned it into a 65-tone radio. There's no reason somebody can't do the same thing with PSK code or RTTY. I mean, imagine having this thing as a complete self-contained RTTY transceiver, and all you do is hook a keyboard up to it. It's not that inconceivable. As a matter of fact, that's one of the things I'm toying with. But there's a lot of cool new things, and one of the things I challenged myself with this next book that's going to be coming up is different things, strange things, unique things. I want to push the limits of what the Arduino can do and what my brain can do, just to the absolute, end. Rather than repeating things like keyers and the simple things, I want to push the edge and do things like the JT65 and just some really cool things.
Glenn, there's so much that can be done here, and I'm more of a home brew person. I like to build things from scratch, and I started on this little 40-meter transceiver here a few months ago, and we showed the receiver, and it worked. It didn't have about 5 parts in it. It worked fine, and I finally got the transmitter working. I wasn't happy with it, and it was very low power, and my friend Walter here lives in the neighborhood. He couldn't hear it. I could hear it on my radio, so I thought I had a problem. Anyway, I wanted to take that ceramic filter out and use the DDS VFO, and we're going to talk more about that later, and you can help me with that. But I'm thinking now about just building just a simple shortwave receiver and put the DDS VFO on it, where I can tune, say, 8 megs to 15 megs or somewhere in there. That's a neat little project, man.
Yeah.
It didn't cost anything to do it.
Well, here's where I was last night in my thinking and playing. And you have to understand, I just really got the lab back into Arduino mode about 3 weeks ago. We literally just finished editing this microwave networking book, just that recently. Matter of fact, we're still waiting for the cover art before it actually goes to the printer. But I'm virtually certain we'll have it all together in time for Dayton. But I haven't had my lab together. One of the things I did last night, I spent, because this is something I don't know, I spent the entire night Googling the web looking for filters.
What kind of filter?
Butterworth Pi filters. What I'm planning to do and what I'd like to do is, rather than being 40 meters only, I'd like to take this rig from broadcast all the way up to 10 meters.
Sure.
And see if I can make an all-band transceiver out of this little itty-bitty board.
Well, and that's exactly what I want to do. Take something that somebody's built that covered, 3 megs, 4 megs, and just, there's no reason you can't expand it. They had it limited because of the little oscillator circuit they had in there. You take this Arduino DDS, and it goes from 0 to what?
75, 65 meg, thereabouts.
50 megs easy. So it would be so easy, I think, to make a all-band deal.
Exactly.
Maybe switch the tank circuit or something,
And that's what I'm going to be tinkering and looking at doing. I've got a couple ideas. And like I say, I learned more about Butterworth and filtering last night than I ever want to know. Found a bunch of good calculators online and ended up with a toroid winding program because of the values that I determined that I need. And so now I spent the rest of the night learning about toroids and how they came up with the numbering system on toroids and how to figure all that out.
Well, look, I need to talk to you about that. Now, that other little rig I built, that homebrew one, I ordered 3 or 4 different toroids, the T37-32, the T32-7. I don't know what they are. I don't know the difference, and I don't know, looking at them, if you can really tell the difference.
Actually, you can, and that was the end of the night for me last night, is I've got a little micrometer. The number, like T37, it's 0.37 inches.
Okay,
T50 that's the outside diameter of the toroid.
Okay.
The dash and then the number is the permeability of the toroid.
Okay.
In other words, the density of the magnetic material in the toroid. And so that number tells you what you can expect out of that toroid in terms of magnetic reactance.
Maybe we should have a show one night on just toroids.
We can go about 5 minutes.
That'd be cool, man. Okay.
But I just found on the web, I found a nice toroid calculation program, and it did exactly what I needed, gave me what I wanted, and I realized that I just happen to have that perfect toroid sitting in my parts bin already waiting to be wrapped and used to expand this little thing up, because right now this only does 40 meter JT65. The Rebel does 20 meter JT65. I think it would be cool to get this little rig up into the higher bands and play with JT65 on 20 and 40 with this little itty bitty guy. Now right now he's putting out about a watt of power. These boards are made to give out 1.8 watts, and since JT65 is 48 seconds a key down, you want to back off the power a little bit. Don't want to fry that little power amplifier. And so I've got mine set to run about a half of a watt, and that's fine for JT65. That's like running 100 watts on sideband.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much, those are two of the projects that are going to go in the book. I've got a whole list of things that I have in my mind and dreaming. I want to do more Ethernet stuff, more Bluetooth stuff. One of the things I'd like to tie in is the processing software, where you actually use the PC to interface with the Arduino and control things. So I want to bring more of that in. I'm open. If you guys have a project idea that you'd like me to try, I will. This is my script. You don't get to see what's in here. But this is a list of what I'm planning for the next book. And yes, an SI 5351, at least one or two projects in there. Had a little bit of a back and forth with my editor today as to what content we would like in this second book. And by the way, Mark Wilson, K1RO, is a wonderful editor. I love working with him. He is just a blast. But working, with him, we pretty much decided we want to push the limits, and we want more projects. We still want to cover the foundation and the new tools and new products, things that weren't talked about in the first book more, but we really, really want to have more projects. And one of the reasons I'm pushing this thing up to 30 megahertz, I want to try that 10 meter JT65. Yeah, for you techs that do digital.
So Glenn, let's you brought some more things that some of the other projects.
Some of the older projects. Yeah.
Why don't we just show a few of them, and let's get some people interested in there. And while you're getting that, let me just make a quick announcement here. For anyone listening on shortwave out there, you can view this video webcast at W5KUB.com. Just go to W5KUB.com, and you can see the people that are giving the presentation and the different things we're talking about. Also, if you're a shortwave listener, I'd really love to hear from you. Send us an email to Tom, that's T-O-M, Tom at W5KUB.com. Let us know where you are, and let us know what the signal is. I know we've got a guy down in Costa Rica that listens to us every Tuesday night from Costa Rica down there. Also, I just want to shout out to a friend of mine. He's probably still up, Steve, M1 ERS, in the UK. He stays up every Tuesday night to watch his show, and it starts at 2 o'clock in the morning over there.
Wow.
And he usually sticks with us through our informal hangout at the end. So he's up from 2 to 4 a.m. watching our show every Tuesday over there. All right, so what do you got here?
I wanted to show you something real quick. If you
Okay.
bring me back to the little handheld cam.
Okay.
This is the networking book. This is one of the pages in the middle. We talk about all the hardware and everything that's in the networking book.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like it's coming out to about 240 something pages. But we cover all of the mesh and stuff. But this is actually
Is that the book?
This is actually the book before it goes to the printer. So
Okay.
you get to see everything. You get to see it before it even gets printed. But
All right.
brought that over to show. And
Hey, Tom,
Yeah, go ahead, Frank.
just a quick question.
Yeah.
I do a little bit of the mesh stuff. And I wonder if Glenn could make the table of contents available.
I don't know. I would have to check with ARRL. I don't see why not.
It'd be a great teaser for the book.
Yeah, I will bring that up to them the next chance I get. Like I say,
That's great.
Mark and I are going back and forth on all sorts of projects right now, and I'll ask that and see if that can't be done.
Well, Frank, what do you think about this? I mean, man, the technology has changed so much, man, over the years.
Well, you know, the cool thing is this whole culture of kind of maker spaces and maker fair, and part of it is the push from open software to open hardware and the blend of those two. And that's what I think is really cool, because it you know, hams are not all alike, and we need to embrace that. The so-called appliance operator. Well, what's happening with leadership by people like Glenn and a number of others, we had one on here who started out the same way, a guy named Gerald Youngblood, turned into a major company. So being able to get hold of the creation of new ideas and expressing them through open source hardware and software is, I think, a kind of a new vista in amateur radio. And Craig Barron's one of those other skunks in the skunk works has been a friend of mine for a while, and so I'm just delighted at what I'm seeing. I've been sitting here in my new office chair, just rocking, enjoying with a front row seat.
Well, great.
Yeah, Craig was actually, it was really kind of funny how I actually fell over backwards into all of this. I had been introduced to the Arduino and by Tim Billingsley, KW5GP here locally, and the Huntsville Hamfest group, and I believe it was Craig himself, sent out an email asking for an Arduino for him. And Tim forwarded that email to me, and we go back and forth about this all the time, laughing, because that one email led to so much. It led to me meeting Craig and working with Craig. It led to the JT65 project with Craig and Joe Large and Rob. Oh shoot, sorry.
Rob shoot.
Rob KB5EZ, I believe. I can't remember Rob's last name, but he was the one that actually asked the question at the forum. But none of this would have happened had I not met Craig, and they've been looking for an Arduino guy. And apparently somebody heard at the forum that, you know, I was interested in writing a book, and 2 weeks later I got contacted by ARRL asking me if I was serious. And that's how we ended up with the first book.
Well,
And
one
that
of
is,
the cool things about this, you know, I'm a retired sociologist, but I'm also a book editor. I'm a book editor for Springer Media, which is a large scientific publisher in Europe, and I do really boring stuff, spatial statistics. But be that as it may, what's really cool, and not to pat this particular show on our backs too much, but kind of the new media in amateur radio, whether it's our friend 5 miles to my west, George Thomas with Amateur Logic and Ham Nation, to Amateur Radio Roundtable, to the myriad of other podcasts and shows, telling people about this is just speeding up the flow of knowledge and new creation throughout amateur radio. So that if you imagine something that happened in, you know, the outskirts of Memphis, when someone in the UK read about it months later in a paper publication, then they react to it, and then someone back over here might hear about their modification. All that has just sped up to a faster and faster pace, and I know this show is going to be that kind of catalyst, Glenn.
well, and that's one of the fun things about the book is I have gotten email from people all over the world asking questions, needing help, needing information. I've sent my Arduino forum presentations out to a half a dozen clubs, and they've used them, they've tweaked them. Gentleman Gary Lashivo built one of the projects in the book, the CW decoder, and he actually won Best in Show at OzarkCon using that project and his enhancements to it. And that's the cool thing, and that was one of the major focuses on the first book. I didn't finish every project, and that was done deliberately. I could have finished them and refined them and just made them so pretty and so perfect, but there was nothing left for you to learn, nothing left for you to do. So I made them practical and functional, and I stopped and I said, now it's your turn. You pick it up and you go the next level. And some of the emails and responses and things that I've gotten have been wonderful. It's been a lot of fun responding to the emails. I had a gentleman take the lightning detector and shrink everything down. He used a little nano instead of the Uno, and he actually put it inside a little 1.5 by 1.5 Christmas ornament that looked like a TV set, and he had the Nokia display in there for the lightning detector. And this is my lightning detector from the book. And
now the first night you showed that here, we had lightning about 20 miles away, and it picked it up.
We had 2 strikes that night, and it was about 20 miles away over in Shelby Farms. And darned if this didn't pick it up. And one of the viewers went to the weather, and sure enough, there was a thunderstorm right over. So we actually picked it up on this little guy.
So I've got a stun gun somewhere. If I held a stun gun up and would it think you might pick that up?
Maybe. And I say maybe because this little thing, even though it uses that little flea-sized chip, it's got signal processing you would not believe, and it would probably detect that as man-made noise instead of lightning. So
and that's the nice thing about Arduino. You can buy all these little modules and interconnect together. This little module right here is the lightning detector itself, and a lot of research was put in.
Little cam on
a lot of research was put into that, where it picks up lightning and not just regular static. Okay.
Switch us over to the cam and we'll show you the actual module itself.
All right.
That's the little module. It is no bigger than a postage stamp, and nobody read that paper that's underneath, okay? Because those are the notes for the second. No, I'm playing. I don't care. It's open source, Tom. I don't care. Everybody's worried about, are you going to be upset if somebody copies or somebody beats you to it? I'm like, no, it's open source. That's the name of the game. People have shared with me. If I share back with people, that's all part of the fun.
Oh, wrong camera. Wrong camera.
That's all right.
There we go. Wrong studio. We jumped to Studio 6.
Studios? Oh, no. I don't play on it.
We were in Studio 6 there. Let's go back to Studio 2. Here we go.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. As far as reaching out to me, Steve, KV60, you can either reach out to Tom at W5KUB.com, or you can email me, KW5GP at ARRL.net, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And let me tell you a little bit about the baseball trophy there, Martin. That was not the original plan. And you can see I've messed up his desk already, so we solved the clean desk problem. But that was not the original plan. It was supposed to be in a custom-built laser cut case, because I really just wanted to show this one off, because it's, to my knowledge, and I think to everybody else's knowledge, this is the only home-built JT65 transceiver using an Arduino in the world, as far as we know. There may be somebody out there, because like I say, it's the open source world and there's millions of folks doing it, but to our knowledge, this is the only one of these in existence right now. Jim, the lightning detector, believe it or not, it's like 8 wires to this module. It's that simple, it's that easy. But the baseball trophy case, it turned out the guy that was going to do my laser cutting had some problems, and the laser cutter was in storage while he moved, so we weren't able to get it cut in time. And I panicked a couple weeks before Dayton, because I wanted this to be my baby. And I ran into one of the hobby stores and saw this baseball cube, and I'm like, this would be cool. So that was another wouldn't it be cool if moment, predicated by necessity. But we did get the thing in the case. It fit. There's plenty of room.
But there are also on eBay, when you order your Arduino boards, there's actually plastic Arduino cases you can buy.
Correct. These cases are all bought cases. They're laser cut cases. This one is made for the larger Arduino called the Mega, but the Uno fits inside and you have room for batteries and stuff. And this is the Uno style. Actually, that's a Mega case also. And then you can get they call that the PC Duino case.
And you just swap. I mean, you don't have what's this display is a this display is a what 20 by 2 or something like that, or 16 by 2.
Yeah, it's 16. 16 characters by 2.
This is any code. Look at that.
Yeah.
And it's random.
It's
random.
That is the first project in the book.
Yeah, I get the camera over here and let's show them what it's doing here. Let's see if we can. Let's see. See if I can.
Bright's a little bright.
You can see it's actually.
It don't like
it's
the green.
sending random code. There you
At
go.
24 words a minute.
Now, is this the speed? You just turn the knob here.
Just crank it up. Now you're at 35.
There's 35 words a minute. You got it set at 35 max, right?
And then 5.
And then we're going to go down.
Yeah,
we're
go
gonna
down to
slower.
my speed, which is 5.
There's 5.
There we go. I can handle that.
Oh, that's pretty slow for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool. That's a little. Hey, that'll help you learn the code.
And you know what's interesting? There have been 2 projects in the book that have been the most popular, and they were actually surprised me. The lightning detector we all knew because that came out of those wouldn't it be cool if moments. The code practice oscillator was just one of those of I wanted to learn the code again, and one of the concepts behind the projects was practical, usable, and expandable. And so I came up with the random code oscillator, and it was really funny because when I built that, I had it testing on the back corner of the lab while I was working on something else, and I noticed that literally overnight, my code speed, I kept going over this thing about every hour or so, making it faster. And I started out the weekend about 10 words a minute. By the end of the weekend, just having this go in the background, I was up to 20 words a minute, just by listening.
There's a question here Byron has. If you incorporate a RPI, I don't know what RPI
That's Raspberry
is.
Pi.
Raspberry Pi, okay. In there too, instead, could you have it handle the whole JT65Q cell?
I would say yes. The biggest issue there is the JT65HF code that's written for the Rebel / we'll just call it the Phoenix code, only works with the Arduino and the chip kit Uno. And there is I have the source for the PC side, but I have no way to modify it, and Joe's just not available to work with it anymore. So that code is there. There's no reason you can't run it on a Pi, but right now that's strictly Windows code.
Gee, there are so many neat ham radio projects with this. That's why it's called Arduino for ham radio. I built the keyboard, the CW keyer that's in your book. Basically, just a few parts. One little box like this. You plug a little USB keyboard into it. You type, whatever you want to. It's got, 4 or 5 or 6 memories. You can put CQ. This is W5GP, and it'll send that out by memory, or you can do your typing. So hey, it automates all that. I mean, these things can be built for like $20.
Yeah.
This is the keyer right here. This is the. You got a little key. Okay,
key.
we're gonna send something. Oh, that's the key.
Rock and roll.
I was talking about the keyboard keyer.
Oh, I got that too.
Okay, but okay. So this is a keyer. Do you build this?
Yeah. No, that's an MFJ.
Oh, that's the MFJ. Oh, okay. Wide spacing on here, but okay. This is kind of cool, guys. Let's see if we can get this little key going here. Let me switch cameras and show you this is electronic keyer here. So this is the little MFJ key, and there's the keyer. Let's see if I can send something here on here. The spacing is really wide on here. I can send faster my key. Let's see.
That's a portable QRP keyer. It's not designed for serious contesting.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, but can you do a C? Yeah, okay, that's kind of neat. And then you've got, we've got the keyboard keyer. This is the one I like. I built this one too. Let's see. Let me get the camera back here.
I'll take that out of the way.
All right. You take just a regular. Hey, this is one of those flexible USB 2 keyboards, and plug it in. And here's the CW keyer. Let's see if see if we can see anything here. Let me change cameras here. Our close camera's not focusing really well. Okay, so okay, how do we work it here? What do we got to do? Power it off and back on?
The connection came loose on you.
Okay. Now I'm gonna type on the keyboard.
No, you can't.
No, I can't. You're not typing.
Obviously, this one hasn't been used in a while.
Maybe batteries.
No, I'm thinking keyboard connection.
Okay. Well, anyway, I like mine. And hey, I was going to build me a complete CW station with it. There it is. All right. So let's see if we can. I'll type a little on the keyboard here, and here we go. Let's see. It didn't work.
You know what we've got?
You've got a loose connection or something in here.
The DIN connector's
Yeah.
busted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably
okay.
getting a couple of the rows.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
see where the connector
But, you know,
busted loose.
Yeah, I was going to, well, I did. I built me the keyboard CW keyer that I can plug in my radio, and I built me the CW decoder, which you plug in your speaker, and man, you can send code there. You know, hey, you can send code at teletype speed. You know, you want to send code at 100 words a minute, you just send it at 100 words a minute, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, you can see this is not made for traveling, and this has been going around a while, but we got an issue with the connector.
Now, I think on
itself.
our last show, you gave away Michael Knight one. What he win? It was a CW. It was a keyboard, wasn't it?
He got the original build of that model.
I got you.
And let's see, got one more here. This is one of the simpler projects. It's a little miniature weather station.
This is the weather station. Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna fix our close-up camera here where it works a little better. But okay, that's not a bad shot. This is a weather station, and it's reading. I don't know what it's reading.
Barometric pressure, relative humidity, and temperature.
Okay, that's cool. And again, there's almost no parts in these things.
No, they're very easy.
I mean,
to build.
if I look in here, I see 4 wires right there, a jumper. Well, that goes to this. What is this?
That's the relative humidity sensor.
Oh, that's a little sensor on the outside right here.
Yeah.
So 4 wires, it goes from a sensor, plugs in here. Your display's got 4 wires, it looks like. Display plugs in, and man.
And there's the little temperature module.
All right. So this is pretty cool. The battery's in here and everything.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool right there.
And somebody asked earlier about these cases. These particular clear plastic cases, I get them from a place called Solarbotics. I believe it's just solarbotics.com. It's called the SAFE. This is what they call the Mega Safe, and they make an Uno safe, which is smaller and shorter. I like the Mega because it gives me room for a battery and just all sorts of other cool stuff. So right there. Now, interesting, Byron, that you go to APRS. Let's go ahead and go back to my
Go back to your
still shots here.
Okay.
This is one of the latest toys on the block. This was a Kickstarter project that was done last year, and these should be shipping to those of us that got in on it any day now. They're talking about these being $99 once they're in general production. They're in the final stages of that. This is called the Ham Shield. They achieved 469% of their funding goal. It's a 250 milliwatt VHF UHF transceiver on an Arduino Shield. It covers 2 meters, 220, and 440. It's got software libraries that they've already developed. It supports CW, packet, including APRS, slow scan, FM, voice. It's got the tone squelch and the DTMF. So basically it's an SDR, but it's all built for the Arduino, and these things are supposed to be delivered here in the spring. The last I saw was they're in the final stages. They got the last little glitches ironed out, so now they're back into production. So I expect to have this in my hands very soon, and you can bet that there will be some book projects with the next Arduino book involving the Ham Shield, because I just think it's a really cool thing. Something else that I have been getting myself involved with in gathering parts and toys, have it on my notes here, and that is the, saw it here just a minute ago, back to my front page. There is a dongle, let's see, it's the RTL 820 dongle that a lot of folks are using on the Raspberry Pi. It is an SDR. It does 50 meg to gigahertz. That is something I want to play with. I just got those in the other day that I'm going to be playing with. For life of me, I can't believe it didn't make this piece of paper.
And they also make a converter, don't they, to take it on down to the low HF bands. I mean,
I believe they do.
Yeah.
So you're talking about weather. There is another Arduino module that's gone out of production at SparkFun, but I found another supplier. It's the SI4707. That is a complete weather band receiver with the SAME alert decoding on a module the size of the lightning detector. And I'm wanting to play with that. There's just a whole bunch of ideas. I do want to do more Ethernet, Bluetooth, things along that line. One of the things that I have got planned, and I've got to do this for me.
Yeah.
How many of you have one of these?
That's the MFJ beacon.
This is the MFJ beacon
Monitor.
monitor. How many of you, when you initially heard of this, thought that was actually a receiver and was going to show you when the bands were open?
Well, I thought it was a receiver, but I found out it's not a receiver.
I did. And I'm like, gee, all it does is synchronize time and let me know when I have to listen on the radio.
Yep.
All right, now, what do we have? We've got a receiver.
Yeah.
It's frequency agile. We can make this receive the same bands as this. Why don't we build a receiver in here, have it powered by the Arduino, change these LEDs to red, green, blue LEDs.
And if it hears it, it's green.
If it hears it, it turns it green.
Cool. I tell you. Well, I won't tell you. I won't tell you.
Is it possible? I don't know. But this is
Yeah.
one of those wouldn't it be cool if moments.
Oh, man.
So I actually have the parts and the idea, and it's just a matter of time in the lab to see if it's really feasible.
Glenn, let's we're pushing 9:30,
Yeah.
and I want to
Yeah, we need to get-
I want to open Hangout up in a minute where people can call in and everything, and maybe even open a phone line here in a minute and Hangout. We'll do both.
Yeah.
But what I want to say, Glenn, have you told everybody how to get in touch with you? Some people don't have Facebook again.
I did.
Yeah, your email address is
KW5GP, my call sign, Kilo Whiskey 5 Golf Papa at ARRL.net.
Okay.
And yeah, I've looked at the RSUV3 shield, and it's basically the same concept as a ham shield. And I think I would rather focus on the ham shield because at this point it looks like it has more possibilities, but I'm not ruling it out yet. W8MBS or WB8MBS. So, let's go ahead.
So I'm going to open the phone lines up. Let's see if we get anybody. Let me move that phone number up where people can see it. It's kind of.
Lynn,
Yes, ma'am.
what's your email address again? I'm going to put it out here.
Yeah, Kilo Whiskey 5 Golf Papa
Put it right there.
at
And
ARRL.net.
yeah, we got our phone number on the screen if anybody would like to call in, and we're going to go ahead. Let's go ahead and open up our Hangout, our Roundtable at the end. Frank, I'm going to drop you off because we're going to use this PC to bring everybody in, and I think you have Hangout, don't you, Frank?
Yes.
Oh, let's see, Frank. I don't hear you, Frank.
Yeah, I've got it. I turned my mic.
I don't have your audio, Frank, but anyway, you're hearing me. So, Frank, we're going to go ahead and hang up with you. We're going to bring the Hangout up where 10 people can join us. Frank, I think you're going to maybe join us. I'm going to put the link, or Kathy, can you put the link in the chat room? So all you got to do is click on the link in the chat room, and you guys can then join us on our webcast. Are we through here?
Let's pop that up real quick.
Okay.
Just as another reminder.
Okay. All right. So there we go.
Yeah. And as we've been saying, my latest book is going to be called High Speed Multimedia for Amateur Radio. It's about what you commonly hear called as mesh networking, but the technology has changed and it's more of microwave networking, because we cover the broadband hamnet, the amateur radio emergency data network folks, and the hamWAN folks. And those are different technologies, different ways of achieving the same thing. But we cover how to deploy it, add your applications, and that's the big thing. Whenever anybody does the networking, it's, okay, great, I got the infrastructure up, now what do I do? And that's what this book focuses on, is what do you do with it once you built it? And of course now just this literally happened a week and a half ago. ARRL and I signed the deal to do the next Arduino book. It's tentatively titled Arduino for Ham Radio Part 2. I'm planning bigger and better projects, but I want to keep them just as simple to build as the first book. And I'm going to plan to use as many of the newer parts and modules that I can think of and play with. The goal of this book is to focus a little more on projects rather than introducing the Arduino. We're still having a discussion on what content we need to carry over. But that's the plan, is we want as many wild and crazy projects, that are going to be fun and expand everybody's horizons. Because one of the things that this does, and you don't see it, this forces me to learn. This is how I find out and stuff, is you push me forward and I have to learn it so I can teach it. And that's been a lot of fun. WRT54s, I've been getting mine either at a Hamfest or off of eBay, but you have to be extremely careful and look at that product label to make sure that it will work. Version 1.1 through 1.4 and possibly 1.5 sticks in my head that are usable. The Ubiquity, a lot of the Ubiquity products are usable. And most of these are available for, I got my WRT54s for like $15 a pop on eBay. My Ubiquities were given to me by a friend, so I can't help you there, but they're running about $50. But yeah, but I didn't want tonight to be that topic. I just wanted to hit there. Let's get back to the Arduino and go there.
So let me make an announcement here real quick. I didn't have the phone lines turned on a minute ago, so if anybody tried to call, please call again. And I don't see anybody in Hangout yet. I hope I'm on the right Hangout. I haven't been on in a couple weeks, and I hope that I'm in here. It says I'm the only one in there right now. So guys, click on that link and call us on Hangout, and also try that phone number at the top of the screen for you shortwave listeners. It's 901-286-1116, 901-286-1116. If you're listening on shortwave, be glad to hear from you. Give us a call.
And I was just looking over here at our little JT65 rig, and I don't even recognize the call. I'm not seeing it on your little list. There is a US 0 station, which I'm going to assume is somewhere over in Eastern Europe, on 40 meter JT65 that we're picking up on our little guy here. Guadalupe's been there all evening. So that little radio works, and that actually surprised me how well it did work. But I promise, if Tom will have me, I will come back and do a whole show on the networking, including a voice over IP demonstration on how easy that is to set up. But let's just keep tonight for the Arduino, and if you want to email me about the other stuff, feel free. But I'm not really going to talk a whole lot about that until the book comes out. But I will check with my editor and see if we can post a table of contents somewhere and see what we can do. But I promise that Tom and I have talked about me coming back several times. Our schedules just crossed here a lot. But I want to come back and do a networking show. And you had also talked about the Go boxes, building a Go box. And my Go box was in that QST article a few months ago, and I'll be glad to bring that in and let everybody look and see how we built that and what's into that. and whatever else you want me to come back and do.
All right, very good. You know, guys, I'm having Kathy send me. We've got 4 or 5 network computers here to make all this stuff work. All of our guests come in and phone lines and so forth. The PC I'm using Hangout on is not the PC that she put the link in. So I'm not sure I'm on the right link. Right now I clicked on a Hangout link and it says I'm the only one there. So if anyone in the chat room, tell me, are you in a Hangout? Because I see no one. Would love to have some of you guys join us. Okay, we'd love also for you to give us a phone call if you can't do a camera and Hangout. Dial that phone number 901-286-1116. And we're going to go ahead and let's see. We're getting good reports on shortwave there. Well, one person said, let's see, he said 5130 is S9 plus 10 over in Wyoming. So that's pretty good. You know, the coverage on that station is kind of funny. I'm going to show you I may not have it here. I was going to show you a footprint of that. I'll show it to you later. But we're looking for any call-ins, 901-286-1116, or call us on Hangout. We're looking for you on Hangout. And I'm gonna dial back into Hangout and see.
And while you're doing that, I'll answer the question here on the
Okay.
WRT54. It's an older model Linksys router, but one of the interesting things is when it was created, they used open source code, and they were forced to release the code under the open source laws and rules back in the early 2000s, and that's where the Tomato router and some of the other projects came from. And it was all done on the WRT54, but basically because it's open source, we can get into it and play with it and write our own code for it.
All right. Well, we must have a lot of shy people out there tonight.
I put 'em all to bed.
Nobody calling in to ask any questions. And hey, if you want to call in and we got a call coming in.
Cool.
All I got to do is find the right mouse and we'll answer.
Uh-oh, it's Alabama.
All right. Let's see. Is it Alabama calling? Hello. Hello. Did I hang up? I don't remember what I did. Did I click the wrong button?
You must, yeah, it says call ended.
Is that it right there? Let me call the phone. We'll call it back. I think I may have hit the wrong button. Problem
with the playback service.
With device. That's interesting. Maybe that's what's been causing our playback
Yeah,
is
they're trying
USB.
to call back in again.
Okay, here we go. Let me answer.
No, you've got a problem on your Skype coming in on that guy.
Interesting. Okay. All right.
Before the show, we had all sorts of strange USB issues.
Well, I'm gonna fix that real quick. I know what to do.
He's going to fix us.
You go ahead and talk, Glenn.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, like I say, one of the things I've got here, this is actually the outline for the next book on the Arduino. Some of the things I'm talking about wanting to play with. SparkFun has this really cute thing called the Micro OLED, and that is a teeny tiny organic LED with a baby Arduino on it. It is literally half the size of a postage stamp, and I want to do some projects with that. The ESP8266 has got Wi-Fi integrated into it. I want to play with that. The TCLC and some of those. I want to do some more of that voice recognition. I want to actually get it going and tinker with some of that stuff. 4D Systems has a nice 4-inch TFT display and system. Little expensive, comparatively speaking, but I'm thinking that would make a really nice station monitor console of some kind. Got a nice little graphic interface and things of that nature. So I'm looking at doing that. Like I say, I want to do a little bit more on the processing. And when I say processing, that's the software that runs on the PC side. Arduino, the Arduino code is actually based on processing, so they're very similar. And one of the things we did this summer, when we did our summer camp for the kids, we actually had them use processing game going with their Arduino potentiometers. And I thought that would be cool to integrate the processing and give me a PC side controller. Yeah, Google Glass, I don't think so. But I'm not an artist, I am not a graphic person. But I want to do more on the PC side. I want to make it a little more powerful and do more things. The only thing the Arduino really isn't that I found is it's not an SDR. If you're going to really want serious SDR, you're going to need to play with one of the dongles or really move up to the Raspberry Pi. The Arduino is more of a controller.
Hey, we may have a caller on. Can you hear me?
Well,
Hello?
he's there. Now you got to get
Hello?
the audio up.
Hello? Let's see if I got the... Well, he's on.
Yeah, he's there.
Let's see.
It's kind of like fishing. We got
Audio
one.
settings, USB,
Now
USB.
reel him in.
He should be there. Hello?
Got the level.
Yep, levels up. All right, well. Let's see, Ringy. Hello?
See, we're not hearing the ring.
All right, I'm going to restart it.
But the other thit there is another tool. I'm trying to remember what it's called. We have reached the end of my memory. It is totally overflowed at this point. There is a app inventor that allows you to build Arduino apps on your Android phones, and I want to tinker over on that as well.
Hello, welcome
And
to Skype call
so
testing service.
that's kind of where
After
my
the
head
beep,
is going
please record a message.
with the
Afterwards,
new book.
your message will be played
Like I
back
say,
to
if you have a project idea, I'm open. You know, the ones I have I like, but I need a ton of them. And of course, these radios that I brought tonight is definitely they're going to be a part of it. Talking about the first book, I had the CDE rotors. In this book, we're going to do the same thing to the Yaesu rotor control. There. Let's see. I mean, I got a whole list of cool things. Something I got my hands on at Dayton were these little $15 Peltier junctions, which is the little chip modules that transfer heat. One side gets hot and the other side gets cold. And I want to play with those, see what I can get with there. There's a nice MP3 board that I found that I want to tinker with. I'm thinking that for a contest voice memory. It's got like 32 separate voices, memories that you can use. So if you're going to work a contest, you can have everybody record their CQ before they go. And they're saying something about bad ground. Somebody's
Bad
blank
ground?
or something. Yeah.
What do we hear about?
Let's see, there looks like bad hum.
Bad hum. Let's see.
And it was on the phone line.
Yeah, it was phone line. Mm-hmm.
You got something broke.
All
Hopefully
right.
we got
all
that
right.
fixed.
Well, yeah.
But those are some of the places I'm going, and like I say, I want to play with just some more cool stuff. Trying to see if there's any other projects. I was thinking about combining the CW keyer and the decoder into one box. Some kind of Ethernet-based rotor controller, so that a friend of mine was out in his cabin in the mountains, and he's able to remote into his rigs, but he can't turn his antennas. And I was thinking that would be kind of cool if I could put Ethernet and then remote in and turn my antennas, doing it that way. So that's something that we're tinkering with.
So it's okay now.
Yeah. And so those are some of the ideas. I'm keep going through my little list here. I want to see if I can take this little cube into a RIDI or PSK box. We chose the JT65 because it was the hardest. And so, you know, that smoke is probably coming from the back of my head because I've been pulling from memory all night long. But one of the things, that's one of the things we're playing with. one of the things, how many of you guys have got a Yaesu 950 or 2000 or something along that line?
Hello.
Have you ever looked at that thing and seen that it has rotor controllers
Hello,
right on
Tom.
the front panel? Have you ever wondered how you can use that?
Hello,
Wouldn't
Tom.
it be cool if we could and not have to buy the Yaesu? That's, along the lines, and VE3MIC kind of beat me right there to it. An Arduino-based universal CAD interface, that would be something to play again. Tom, they said our home's back.
Comes back, huh? Okay.
So, and of course,
Yeah, I know.
we want to play with the SI5351 some, but that's kind of where I'm hoping to go with the next book. Like I say, there's a whole bunch of ideas, and Russ is saying that's the same hum that he gets on the phone when he calls. So Russ is our caller.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much where I'm hoping to go. I guess we're not going to get any calls tonight. Every time I come over, I break a shack. I mean, let's get real. This is a perpetual thing. But any ideas, send them to me. Any questions, please ask. I'll be glad to help in any way that I can. So that's pretty much what I got. Tom, you got anything, or are you still going to play with the phone?
I'm gonna try one more thing. Let me switch a couple of cables here. I don't know. Let's see.
Tom's rewiring. the
Yeah,
shop now.
rewiring.
If y'all look towards Memphis and you see a mushroom cloud, you will know what happened. And there's a reason why I'm not doing this from my house.
Oh.
What you did?
Well, it's just I've got the different keyboard that work.
The two demon children, they are kittens. And that's what's so fun about them is they are massive kittens. And so far I have caught them digging through the parts boxes. They have grabbed an RJ45 coupler, a piece of Cat5, one of my Peltier coolers, and their favorite right now is pencils and ice chips. And my biggest concern about that is pencils have graphite. Ice chips have water. What are things that you do with graphite and water? The only thing that comes to mind for me right now is nuclear cooling. I caught them grabbing my laser presentation pointers. All I can figure is if I am the dog next door,
Okay.
I would be very
Kathy.
worried about a nuclear powered laser dog neutering device. And these kids are capable of doing it because every time I go upstairs, they have new parts.
Okay, guys, try the phone now.
He thinks he's got it.
I think it's fixed. I've gone. Here we go.
I didn't hear no sounds.
Hello, anybody there?
Tom, this is me.
Hello?
I've been trying to call from
Hello.
Alabama.
I'm not
Hello.
Wayne.
So much for the phone.
Tom?
I knew it was fixed.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Hello?
not hearing it.
Tom, can you hear me?
It's fixed? No. Russ, it obviously isn't going to work tonight. Tom now has something to do between
We'll
now
get the
and
phone
next week.
working. We'll get the phone working next week. We'll get the phone working next week. I don't know what's happening.
You got another call coming in, but
Yeah.
you've got audio issues coming out of that PC, and we had all sorts of strange USB issues coming in earlier today. That thing's got a mute button on it.
Yeah. Let's see. No, let's see.
But no, my cats actually root through the parts boxes, and it was kind of funny because I had one of my the pan adapter. I have an LP pan SDR receiver on my 950. Now that's funny because Chat hears him, but we don't.
Who hears?
Chat is hearing the caller, but we're not hearing him. So it's something on your speaker output on that guy.
Oh, so they're hearing him, but we're not.
Yeah.
Let me
That
think
means
about
our
this.
output device here. Would he be
Google.
coming through those speakers?
No.
No.
Oh, you know what?
He didn't
You know
turn
what?
the
You know
speakers
what?
on.
You know what? You know what? I think we're going to figure this out in a minute. All right. We got anybody on the phone now? Hello?
Anyway, I was doing I had the 6 screws out of the case, and the little one has learned that if she goes to the back of the desk under the shelf, I'll let her stay there. And it's kind of like the parts troll, because every now and then this paw comes out and pulls screws. I had to trade a cell phone vibrating motor to get the 6 screws back to put the case back together. So I'm still not hearing it. We should hear it ring, though.
No, I've got the ring turned off.
Oh, okay.
Anybody there?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, my gosh, it works when you turn the speakers on.
Yeah. Let me get a little volume here. How you doing? Who we got on the phone? Who we got on the phone?
This is your cousin Wayne from Alabama.
Oh no, Wayne. Do not ask the question that we were talking about the other day.
Uh-oh. This does not sound good.
Oh man. It was a political question, guys. We're not going to get into that on this show, but it would probably stir a lot up. So, the answer, but I know what the question was. The answer is yes. How's that?
Well, I think I'm behind the 8 ball because I missed the question.
What? You know the question, right? No, you know what? This is Wayne, right?
This is Wayne.
Oh, hey Wayne. No. Earl, your brother Earl said
Right,
he
Earl.
said he was going to call in with this question, and I mean, even though there are no FCC rules here, I'm sure we'd be shut down. So,
Yeah.
so anyway, you know your brother. You know what the question probably was.
No, but he's a lot older than me, and I'll let him take the responsibility.
Okay. So, hey, you've been watching down in Birmingham, huh?
Yeah, watching down here. I was just telling our cousin John Saturday that we don't have any tornadoes. They all come past us, come around us, and we had one come through the neighborhood today.
Oh, you did? And wow.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. It was about a half a mile away from us, but it went over quick, and it kept on going. So
Did it do any damage to you guys in that area?
There was a little damage about 5-6 miles away from us. We got mostly wind, a lot of rain, but other than that, we're all unscathed.
Well, I'm glad you guys were safe there and no damage. And hey, I'm also glad you called in. You're the only caller
No,
we got
there was
tonight.
2 others
Oh,
that tried to
there
call.
were 4 or 5 others I saw. We weren't hearing them.
Yeah.
And
No, they tried again.
You know, I changed out 2 USB audio dongles, and
all because he didn't have
all
the speaker turned
because we had the speaker turned down.
In all fairness, we were trying to troubleshoot some kind of strange USB issue while we were here. And you notice I haven't heard it chirp once since we started the show.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I heard you say, "Hey, that call's from Alabama." That was me.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
used to live in Birmingham. Matter of fact, I used to live up in Remlap. And in fact, me and the Monsters are going to be going to a cat show over in Anniston in a couple of weeks. It's going to be their first cat show. So we'll be heading over that way. And Dave in the chat room is asking, do they still have their claws? Yes. And have you ever watched the Wild Kingdom episodes? You know, Marlon Perkins is I'm sitting safe in the Land Rover while Jim is out dealing with the overly affectionate tiger cub. That's my morning. This cat is literally as big as a tiger cub and still a kitten. And yes, they have claws and everything else. So anyway.
Oh, man.
Well, guys, I think we had a pretty good show tonight, even though no one else called in
Well,
except you.
I'm glad I could contribute.
Well, you helped us
Solve the problem.
solve the problem and verify that it does work. This technology does work. Let's
And Russ in the chat room is asking if there's a place to find the software for the Arduino. The easiest place is arduino.cc, which is the home page for the Arduino. They have a lot of tutorials and things there. If you're looking for the projects from mine, you can find them at w5obm.us
Tom here?
/ Arduino. But that is the code only. You're going to need to, here's why I get greedy. You're going to need to buy my book to be able to build the projects in it. So yeah, you can go get the code. It's open source. Merry Christmas. Share it. but you're gonna have to buy the book to build the projects. So anyway,
All right.
what else?
Just do a search, a Google search. It's such open source. I mean, whatever you want to, you take a little bit of this one, take a little bit of that one, you put it all together, right?
Yeah.
That's the nice thing about
Spark Fun and Adafruit also have some very good tutorials, and a lot of the parts come with sample code. So even if you don't know nothing, buy the part, download the code, and play, and you stand a good chance of getting something working pretty close.
Who's on the phone?
Yeah, Mike. Yeah.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, I don't know what's with the chat room tonight, or hangout. Doc and I are in it.
Are you?
And
Then you're in the wrong
two of
one.
us are in it.
Well, I may be in the wrong one. I was hoping to see you and Doc.
Yeah.
I took the link down when we were off last week, and I reposted it. I don't know if I'm on the right
You're probably in
hangout
the
or
wrong chat room.
yeah.
I sent you a link to it.
I'm gonna try to connect to it one more time.
Click the other tab.
Let me
I
find.
bet you
What
sitting there.
I'm doing right now is I've got you in. I'm in the hangout on my little mini iPad.
Oh, wait a minute. It says I'm the first one here. Join Hangout.
You're going to be in the
Now
wrong
it says connecting.
And
No,
I
you're
got
the
my
one
iPad turned
on your
towards
other
my
tab.
computer
She
screen.
probably got you the link.
Okay, here, let me try to.
I got my-
WB8NBS. It is on GitHub under Joe Large's stuff. I will have to get you the specific link, but it is somewhere out there. If not, I definitely have it,
I got the
and
computer
I
screen.
can get it posted. But it was on the
Second delay.
pretty sure I got it off of GitHub or SourceForge. And send me an email, and I will dig it up and try to find it.
I'm not seeing you guys on Hangout, so obviously I'm in the wrong room.
You're in the wrong room.
And Kathy sent me the link, and I've tried 2 different links, but
What Tom doesn't know is because he missed a week, everybody's in the other room just because.
well, we use the same link every week. For it. I don't know what's happened here.
Well, you're in purgatory is what it is. You missed a week. You're paying the penalty.
Did Frank make it to the Hangout link? Is Frank in here with you guys?
No, it's just me and Doc,
Okay.
and the one we're in.
Well,
And I got my iPad turned towards the computer screen so he can see you guys.
They ought to send you the link.
send me
Yeah,
the
I
link.
just bookmarked in favorites what we had last week. We were in, or 2 weeks ago there.
If you can easily send it to me in email, the link to tom@w5kub.com. No, that's not right. Yeah, that'll work. tom@w5kub.com. And I'll try to join you guys. We've gone way over on the showtime. I know people are leaving right now. There's still about 52 people in the chat room. So, we usually hang out around here a little while and have a good time at the end of the show. We usually smoke cigars and with Doc and everybody on here, but I can't.
I don't think Kathy would let me in here.
I can't get into the Hangout. So, Mike, can you send me that link?
I'll see if I can get it up here.
Okay. Or maybe there's an invite. I think there's an invite button on there.
Yeah.
On the Hangout link.
Yeah, I'm bringing up my Google Mail where I saved it.
But I think just on Hangout there's a place you can invite people, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. And if it is, you probably could just type my email in there and
Try the other antenna.
because I'm obviously on the wrong Hangout.
I just copied and pasted the one I had in Google into the chat room.
Okay. All right. If you send it to me, I'll try to join you guys and put you guys on the show. And hello to Kurt, WA2JSG up in New Jersey. Kurt, I know it's getting late there. Man, it's 11 o'clock your time. Better be going to bed.
You gotta hit enter there to get it up into the chat room. Yeah.
So, did you send that, Mike?
Put that in for him to see in the chat box.
Oh, wait a minute. Do what?
Well, I'm talking to Doc at the same time I'm
Oh,
talking
okay.
to you.
Okay, Don, 73 KC9 ZMY. See you later. Russ, I've only got one line coming in. That's the reason you didn't. Who we got on the phone right now? We still have somebody on the phone?
Looks like somebody's still on the phone.
Yeah, it's still me.
Oh,
Mike.
that's Mike. Yeah. Okay.
Lee, NN7X. I don't have a specific booth at Dayton.
He can come by our booth. SA 301 and SA 302.
Yeah, I was planning on hanging around at your booth or the QRP Archie booth. Although I'm going to bet that this year ARRL is going to corner me and make me spend a lot of time in their booth.
Where's our camera?
Our little guy?
Guys, let me show you who our co-hosts are going to be this year with us. Let me change cameras here. There we go. Astronaut Doug Wheelock will be with us again this year. Doug's been trying to be with us every few years, and he will be back with us.
I went twice.
He'll be back with us and be our co-host on our webcast Friday and Saturday. So come by and get an autograph and come by and get a picture with him. He's a neat guy. He pulls big crowds. So he'll be at our booth all day Friday and Saturday. Now, Mike, you sent that link to what? In the chat room?
Yeah, it's right there in the chat room.
Yeah, but that's the wrong computer.
Oh well.
Yeah, I wound up hitting it twice. So.
And that's a lot to type.
Yes.
Copy and paste.
Can you send it to me in an email real quick? Just
Okay.
paste it.
W5 hit what?
Just send it to Tom at W5KUB.com.
And Dave, W0DF, yes, I'm going to be at 4 days in May, but I'm going to be coming up on Thursday, so I won't be attending the seminars. I'll be there Thursday evening. And I have not decided what's going to be in the homebrew contest this year. I've got some things I left at home that I'm not ready to talk about yet. The JT65 was there last year, so I can't bring it again this year. But yeah, I will be going to 4 days in May, and I'll be getting there Thursday afternoon. And Mike and DF Robot, yeah, I love their stuff. They've got some good stuff. I've got several of their new projects, and Tom's got me feeling a little bit queasy right now.
Let's see here. Here we go. Yeah, up here in the space, it's kind of.
Well, what's really cool is I've lost about 200 pounds. Oh, this could be fun.
I like spinning. I like spinning the. There we go.
There you go.
Look at there. There we go.
We have now totally lost it, folks.
There we go. Okay. All right. Thanks, special props guy. Thanks.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Let's see.
I don't see an email yet.
Yeah, I'm typing.
He's typing.
Can't you cut and paste?
Well, I got to type the email in here.
Well, I see the short one. I could probably type it in here.
Yeah.
You want to read it to me?
I'll read
let
it
me
to
go.
you.
All right, hang on. Let me get. All right, it's HTTP
S
//
Yep. Lowercase GOO.GL.
GOOGL.
GOO.GL.
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 What? Okay, goo.gl.
/ uppercase R, lowercase QT.
R, QT.
And uppercase N. Lowercase
M.
Nancy.
Nancy. That's uppercase Nancy.
And lowercase Kilo Zebra.
Kilo Zebra. All right, let's see what that does for us.
Says we're the first.
Says I'm the first one in there. That doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. We may have some type of link problem. The other guys are in a hangout somewhere, but it's not that one.
They're not in our hangout. They're in the hangout down there.
Down where?
On the Earth. We're in the hangout up here.
Well, we'll probably just create a new hangout next week, and we'll get on in. We'll have hangout. We had a few technical problems tonight, but
hey, the show.
The show was down last week, and I forgot how to work most of the stuff. Plus, when you came, we shifted
I tore
everything
apart.
out of the way here.
Yeah, of course we did that.
Okay, well, we'll give up on it right now.
Okay, all right.
You have to realize last time, I think Tom showed you the picture, we literally had a mile of cables and stuff on the floor here for all the demo last time.
Every time we'd get up and move around, our foot would hook into a cable, and we'd pull a computer off the floor or radio.
Shortly, here's another one.
Okay, all right.
Somebody posted for Hangout.
Wait a minute, somebody just came on. Somebody's coming on the Hangout I'm in, so I don't know if we're in the right one or not.
Okay.
Well, no, he left.
It said Mike has left the call.
Yeah, that was you.
So we actually were there.
So obviously we're in different Hangouts tonight. That was just something happened. I don't know.
But I've been sitting over here watching the JT65 rig going, and ZS4, that's South Africa.
Oh yeah, you got South Africa coming in there. That's pretty
That's
cool.
not bad for a little direct conversion $12 radio.
It is not bad at all.
You know,
All right.
I switched it over to your Delta loop. So.
All right.
So.
Well, guys, I'll show you. You were talking about how clean. You were saying our workbench is too clean. Let me. I'll show you what's going on. In fact, the place is a little cleaner here. Let me switch cameras, and I'll give you a quick tour. Let's see. Okay, so this is the operating position here. You can see it's pretty junked up right now. So that's our operating position. And then I'm going to try to give you a view of our studio right here. We're right in the middle of the floor here.
The shine off the back of my head is going to blind a few folks.
So you can see the networked PCs there, and here's our camera and our monitor up there. And then we come around toward the workbench. This is our workbench. It's so cluttered up, we really have not been able to do much over here right now. Here's our new mixer for our show. This is audio mixer we're using today for the show, and we're upgrading to this mixer for the show. Hopefully I'll have time to get that in someday. There's some of our wireless system right there. And some of the old military test equipment and various meters and dummy loads and antenna analyzers and more watt meters and things like that. That's kind of what we got there, and that's kind of what the place looks like. We do not use a green screen. A lot of people accuse us of using a green screen. We do not use a green screen at all.
No, it's blue.
So just wanted you guys to know that.
And I almost wore a blue shirt tonight. I came within a hair of doing that because I was saying, oh, he's got green. I can't wear a green shirt.
Yeah, so let me see if I can. Oh, hey, there's Doc.
Oh my gosh,
Doc
there's
came
somebody
in.
in a
Doc
hangout.
came in.
We got you.
Now, so what happened?
I think we went to the wrong link.
You went to the wrong link?
I must have.
One of us
There
did.
with Mike. I was in there with Mike.
Well, you know,
If you and Mike both did the wrong link, was it us that was wrong, or was it you two that were wrong?
Well, I copied the link in the chat room, and it didn't take me anywhere. And then Mike called me, and I answered him. So.
oh, so
It's
y'all
all Mike's
probably,
fault.
yeah, y'all connected somehow. Yeah, okay. All right, so that's what happened here. Okay, so you know, if we go, let's jump back to Studio 6. There's Studio 6 right there. Well, we're not positioned very well right there. Let's see. Let me edit us here a little bit.
I lost the chat room. I gotta go back.
You lost it.
Yeah. While you're editing this, can you give me
Hair.
fuller, darker hair, you know, younger looking?
I need somebody to post that short link again.
Yeah, that's about the best I can get to. Yeah, that looks kind of weird. Let's see. All right, so there we go. we'll show people what happens if you wear the blue. Of course, they know. Hand me that Bazinga shirt. Here's my Bazinga shirt, guys, right here. So, if we had wore our blue shirts tonight, this is what we would look like right here. There we go. Let me get up here. Get my blue shirt on. Here we go.
Now what you need to do is turn it around so you can see the
See-through meddling.
That what?
There you go.
Oh, somebody's calling somewhere. It sounds like you're in a different hangout.
I have no idea.
They're calling in on another group.
But see, I don't have to worry
I
about
know
this
it's your
stuff.
home.
If we
You
fly
can't
into the
get
ground,
it.
it's all on you.
Yeah, well, what is that? Oh, what is that? Has left a call. All right, guys, well, we're just playing around right now. We don't have a lot of things going on, so we're acting silly. Thanks a lot, everybody, for tuning in tonight. And we're back on schedule now. We'll be back next Tuesday. I'm not sure who all our guests are next Tuesday. I know we're going to have a report on some of the Hamfest. Joe Eisenberg, K0NEB, is going to be here. He took
Building kits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, there's Mike. Mike is now in. Okay, he joined us on the. There we go.
I better hang up the phone.
Now we're getting people in here. Doc's in there. Mike's in there.
Yeah, now they got the right link.
Now everybody's in here. I don't know what's going on. So.
Well, what a chore to get in here.
Yeah, you guys somehow you found us. That's interesting. Let's see. I'm trying to center you guys a little here. There we go. All right. Well, I was about ready to cut the show off, but we'll hang around a minute.
Well, you can't know that Doc and I are in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know William said he had something to go to tonight, so he probably wasn't going to make it. We got Doc out there. Now Doc's out in his car smoking. There we go. Doc's smoking a cigar, as always.
Yep.
Out in his car. So I'm glad you're able to enjoy the show each Tuesday night. Do you go out in your car every night or just on Tuesdays?
Oh, this is my nightly event, so
Okay.
I'm in my man cave.
All right, very good. Let's see if this is working.
Oh, the wonders of computers and everything else. When they work, they work. When they don't,
Yeah. Oh, look, you got half of me and half of you.
Yeah.
Problem is, they got your better half and my worse half.
Yeah, let's see. It's a little tough to adjust here. Let's see.
You want me to just move the camera?
No,
to you?
that's all right. I'll just do that, and I'll just do that. There you go. I've got us both in there. Right there we go. All right. Yeah, we were just about to call it quits here. We were starting to get real silly, and nobody was being silly with us. My cousin called in. They were here last week. Of course, they came up last week, and one of my cousins, he's really outspoken, and he was going to call in and ask me a political question, and I knew that would that'd probably stir up everybody in the chat room. So, but he didn't call. But his brother called me. Wayne called a while ago, and I thought I thought he was going to call in and ask the same question, but Wayne didn't know what the question was. So, I'll just stay away from that.
Yeah, best too. No, we don't want to talk about politics. We might end up having to kill each other simultaneously, and then there wouldn't be anybody to do the show next week.
Now let's see, Mike. You say Doc is showing 2 sessions. That's not exactly right. You're seeing what I'm sending back. That other one is me. You're seeing. If I can get the right mouse. So there, right now, you ought to see me there.
Yep.
So, but when I put you guys back on here, then I'm sending back to you what I'm seeing.
yeah, you're seeing Doc. Yeah.
Yeah, there he is, right there.
Yeah.
So let's see. Ron K9ID left. Good show. Good night from Dave AC2BA. Now Kurt's going to light his pipe up. He usually smokes with you guys. He couldn't do it till we connected with you. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and just turn everything off here or close it down, and I'm sure that Glenn and I, and got a friend here with us tonight, Walter here. Walter's with us, and where's the camera? Let's put the camera on Walter. Aim the camera over at Walter.
You got it.
No, I don't have the camera.
I don't have it.
Where's the camera? It's aimed at my radio
it's
there.
over here.
No, it's aimed at my radio. Can you reach it? There you go. There's Walter. Hey, man, Walter's a pilot with FedEx, the company I retired from. And
Walter. Hi. Hey, guys.
And he flies the...
I never come back here again after tonight.
Yeah. He flies the Airbus and always has interesting stories. And you ever had a parachute out of one of those?
No, not
Walter?
one of those.
No.
No, wait a minute.
Let's talk.
He said not in one of those. That means there had to have been a time when.
Nope, I'm getting feedback.
There's no sense in living a perfectly good airplane.
Yes.
That's right. Why would anybody jump out of a perfectly good airplane?
Hey, Tom.
I don't either.
Hey, I was in the Air Force. I never jumped out. Take that mic right there.
All right, have been under some serious duress.
Well, you know, I thought it was funny because when I was
Oh,
younger,
gee. I hang my cord on this all the time on your chair right here.
I knew we were going to have a quick.
Yeah, I've done it 4 times.
When I was young, I would climb a tower in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's because up until age 25, you're wearing those blue leotards with the red S. Once you hit 25, it's over and you can't go 10 feet up a ladder.
That's right. You're no longer bulletproof or invisible.
Exactly.
Talking to that mic. Let's see if it's working.
Hey, testing. 1, 2, 3. How's that?
Doesn't look like it is.
No, let's see. Talk again.
I don't see anything. Testing.
Oh, gee.
Do I need to turn it to the O-in position?
Yeah, turn it to in. Is it on?
Test. I got a green light and some numbers in it.
Test 1, 2. All right, talk.
Doesn't
If I
sound
give it
like
to Glenn,
it's
he'll
on to
probably
me.
make something else out of it.
Walter,
Hello.
get that other mic over here. Let me see that mic while you're at it. See, we're troubleshooting tonight.
Yeah. Tonight is Fix It Monday.
Tonight is Fix It night. Let's see. Test 1, 2. That's working. Let's see. Test. It just needs to be turned up. There we go. Test 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this mic's working. Got to learn how to work the controls. All right.
The dreaded on-off switch.
Right. Have a seat over here. All right. So tonight, our show's over with officially. We're going to talk airplanes.
Oh, here we go.
We're going to talk airplanes tonight. Put that camera back over toward. Aim it toward.
Okay.
We're going to talk airplanes now.
It'll break the camera. Room right now.
Now Walter flies the A320.
300 310 series.
Three. What's the difference? Just short.
Well, the 320s are the ones you ride with the passenger carriers. Those are the baby buses.
Oh, really? I thought they were the same and just didn't have seats in it.
Ours don't have seats. Well, 2 up front.
Yeah.
The most important two.
That's right. Yeah. If they could get away with it, they just duct tape it to a pole.
Well, cost-cutting measures, they may take one of those seats out front.
That's okay.
You know,
they can do that.
So Walter flies the A300 310 series.
300 310 series. It's quite a bit
Yeah.
larger.
So what's the stalls? Let me ask some technical questions here.
Oh,
See, I'm
gosh,
technical
here we go.
here.
Watch
I'm going to
this.
ask some technical questions here. What's the stall speed of a 310?
Depends on your weight.
Yeah, let's say it weighs 418 pounds.
418 pounds.
Yeah. That's all the
That's
cargo.
like one tire.
Now, do you want it relative to an African or European swallow?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, let's just say
Actually,
let's
it's when
just
you
say
get
the
below
plane's
1.2
empty.
PSI.
You got a 418-pound tire in the back, but the plane's empty. What's the stall speed? You think?
It's over 100 knots.
100 knots. Yeah. And why do you use knots instead of miles per hour? Is there a good reason?
It's always been
that way.
I don't know. Just to keep it confusing.
Now, do you use nautical miles when you fly? Nautical miles?
That's what a knot is.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. Oops. We just showed off how much we know.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay. Hey, Doc, jump in if you ever got any questions. We're talking airplanes tonight now, you guys.
Yeah. You actually know if Doc can mail me a first class physical.
Oh, yeah. Doc, he needed to mail Walter here a first class physical. He does flight physicals.
Via the mail?
I don't know about that.
Probably even takes PayPal.
There's some guys here that do it.
He's not answering. I don't know if he's hearing.
It's awfully quiet.
I don't know if he's hearing you or not. Doc, did you hear that?
I'm just now getting back on. I got
Oh,
disconnected.
well, we're Walter's my pilot buddy, and he needs a flight physical, and I know you give him. He's wanting to know if you give them by mail and if you take PayPal.
Yeah, turn your head and cough.
Yeah. That's right. He probably
That's the
remembers.
end of the exam.
Ask Doc, do you remember Dr. Markle?
You okay there?
I wonder if Walter knows Kurt Watson that just retired.
Kurt Watson.
Oh, absolutely. I remember. Yes, I did know Kurt. He was a neighbor while he was still living in the area around here.
Oh, he just lived here in my neighborhood, our neighborhood.
No, this was at our old house across town. There, but yeah, I did know Kurt and his sister as well.
Yeah, he used to run all over our football team when he grew up in Crossville, up the road here a little bit. And of course, I watched him at the University of Tennessee when I was there.
Yeah, matter of fact, I happened to be on the goal line at the Liberty Bowl when he scored to beat Arkansas. I remember that as a kid.
Yep, I was there.
Oh man. All right. So did you turn your head and cough?
Yeah, exactly. So
okay.
sign the certificate, and I'll get it in a couple days.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So we're talking.
He snapped the rubber glove on.
Yeah. We're talking airplanes. This show went from ham radio to airplanes. Now, Walter, you gotta those. You know, I never operated one, but I've seen the radios in there, and you've got HF radios in the airplanes.
Some do.
That do sideband and HF and all that, right?
They will do it. There's two positions. It's HF or AM.
Oh, okay.
And
all AM, I think.
I have not had much luck with getting any of them to work. I can receive on some, but I can't.
Yeah.
I don't seem to be able to make any contacts with anybody.
All right. Now, Kurt.
Lack of trying.
Kurt here, WA2JSG, said that he used to fly a Cherokee 140. Now, you could put that in the back of the 310, couldn't you?
A few of them.
A few of them.
Yeah.
In there.
Could land it on top of it.
You know, when I was in the Air Force, I walked under when the C5 first came out, and used to walk under that every day to go to work, and they said you could put 6 Greyhound buses end to end in a C5.
6 end to end.
That's what I was told.
In a C5.
Yeah, C5A Galaxy. I don't know. That seems a little long.
That seems a little excessive. No.
Yeah, it does.
I believe you could get
maybe short buses.
You could get 6 on board. I'm not sure you could get them end to end.
Maybe side by side.
Yeah, side by side.
I think you could get two
by two.
I think you could do that.
Yeah. And you know that airplane had 28 wheels on it.
Something like that.
Yeah. I heard stories when they did a parade thing or something when it first came out, and they landed it, and 5 wheels came off and rolled by the reviewing stand. I don't know if that's true or not, but with 28 wheels, I'm sure you don't need all of them.
No, you got plenty to spare.
That's right. There's plenty more.
All right, so now this 310, does it have the capability to land itself all by itself without a pilot?
You'd have to have somebody to hook it up. You'd have to get things going. It'll auto land. Yes, they will auto land. However, you would have to. It's not completely.
You have to set it up somehow.
Yeah. You have to put the switches in the right positions to engage. Once it engages, and it'll do it.
Okay, and it'll actually make a nice landing?
Yeah, it does. It actually makes a pretty nice landing.
Would it make that landing easier than a human would land it? I mean, would it touch down?
On who it is.
Yeah, you know.
Some guys yes, some guys no.
If Tom Hanks had only had one of those, right?
Yeah,
That's exactly right.
You know, I mean, I've been in some pretty hard landings. You know.
I'm convinced that Delta hires ex-Navy carrier pilots. For
well, you know,
we all do.
Hey, let me tell you, when I first started with FedEx,
I've had a few bolters.
There you go. Yeah, exactly right.
When I started with FedEx, nearly probably half the pilots were military fighter pilots. Of course, that's when we had the Falcon jets.
That little guy Falcon that we were talking about a minute ago, Tom, was Blue Angel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
was, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I have to go to the chiropractor every once in a while. It's because of the bad first officer landings.
Well, you know, we could jump seat. We could jump seat on the airplanes. We wanted to go somewhere, and I never jump seated on the Falcons. I mean, they were there. I just didn't ever take an opportunity to do it. But you know, you had the pilot, co-pilot, and the jump seat was like a plank or something that folded over between
an ironing board.
An ironing board that folded over between the two seats, and people always bring the pilots cookies and stuff like that. But some of these pilots, they'd show out in those little Falcons up there. You know, I mean, I've heard stories where, you know, they did things to impress the rider. You know, the jump seater.
One thing we all have is détente.
Yeah.
And we won't get into a lot of the stories about each other.
Yeah. So, okay, hey, you know, the first airplane I ever saw back up when I was in the Air Force was a C-130. We actually stopped that sucker, and he backed it in a parking place. I thought that was amazing. You know?
I backed out of a parking place, but I hadn't backed.
So the A310, it'll back up.
I'm not going to try that one.
Oh, I mean,
I was in a King Air the day I did that.
Oh, okay.
I'm not trying that in a jet.
Do you need a jets when you were? Well, I guess you reverse engines, right? You can reverse engines on landing or something for braking.
If you remember back years ago, if you could watch when the DC-9s would leave Memphis, they actually will do when they come into reverse, the clamshell doors would open and it diverts the air back forward. And I remember seeing them depart the gate prior to tugs pushing you back.
Yeah, there's been many DC-9s, MD-80s
on their tail,
and I think 727. I even backed out in one time.
Really?
I used to live in planes for a former job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I probably flew more than you do.
Here's a question from Mike up in Canada. What about the Russian
Antonov? That is their big monster.
That is a huge monster airplane. Yeah, that's one. I don't know how many tires it's got, but it's got as many, if not more, than the C-5. It's a huge, big old airplane.
Yeah.
Old technology, but a huge airplane.
Yeah,
it's probably the technology in the cockpit is probably late 60s, early 70s, something like that.
Well, see, the Russians keep things simple. You know, and they're Soyuz, what do you call that thing? They're
Soyuz.
Yeah, that goes up and down. I mean, I was talking to astronaut Wheelock, and he says, man, I mean, they keep things simple, man. You know, not a lot of electronic stuff in there. It's all, you know, you want to go up, you flip this switch, it goes up. You want to go down, you flip the switch. I mean, you know.
Keep it analog.
Yeah, I mean, and they do a lot of that, so.
That's true.
All right, so you hadn't been in any crash landings in a 300 or 310, have you?
No, have not. Plan on keeping it.
Been close to any? Close to any?
Any close to?
Close to any?
No crashes.
My two neighbors in my other neighborhood, both of them crashed FedEx jets. I don't know, man. Must have been a neighborhood.
I'll tell you what I did have happen on my very first solo, all by myself. This is the one where you drive. When you're driving to the airport, you know you're going to solo for the very first time. I took off out of Memphis International, headed down to this little small regional airport, and worked my way into the pattern and was going to do some touch and goes, and the guy in front of me did crash.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought, oh, isn't this special? I guess I better go somewhere else.
I had a friend, actually a ham friend, that was a pilot for Eastern, and he had one of the engines blow up on a takeoff roll. Fortunately, he didn't make it in the air with it.
Yeah, that could get exciting.
Yeah. So, do Mach 1, close to Mach 1, 300?
I've been 0.935.
0.935 Mach. That's pretty good. Did you ever just want to kind of? Now, does the company frown on that, or if you want to kind of? If you're at 0.939 Mach, I mean, would they get mad if you kind of just pushed it a little bit more?
That's been a long time. Now everything's monitored.
Oh, they'd know.
They got telemetry. They would know.
So
the next gen system that they're trying to get Congress for appropriation and all that, and the ADSB and the systems that they want to put in the airplanes.
Yeah.
They will know when you turn the knobs and how you turned it. That's not good.
There's some rules. You're not supposed to go Mach 1.
Generally not.
Okay.
Actually, there's software limitations on a lot of the performance, and that would be one of them.
I spent probably about 7 years at Pratt Whitney Aircraft Government Research, and I was there when they were doing the engines for the F-14, 15, 16, and the Blackbird.
Nice.
So that was fun.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. That's where I got a lot of my telemetry and data knowledge from. Was down there.
Was off of that. Okay, very good.
Well, with Jumpsuit, we had to take this test. We had so many different airplanes out there. When I was working here, we had to. I don't know what all we had, man.
Well, when you were there, it must have been Falcons.
I've been here during all that.
When he was out there, it was Sopwith Camel.
Yeah. But what I was going to say, right. even the later years,
the Jennies and OX5 engines.
There's so many variations. I mean, we got the 7 I guess we had 777s now.
We do
777s,
767,
767,
57s.
We had some 10s, I
Right,
think.
right.
MD-11s,
Right.
maybe.
Then the 10s were converted to MD-10s.
And I'd have to take the test before I'd go out there. Testing good for like 6 months, and I'd have to take the test, and like the question come up on an MD-11, where's the oxygen mask? Is it here? Is it another seat? Is there? What do you do? What's the primary exit on the 757? You know.
Yeah.
And oh gee, so you look the answers up as you took the test. You know.
It was open book, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was open book. And did y'all not have to take that being a pilot?
No, because we have annual training that we got to go through all that anyway.
Okay, well, gee.
That's one of the few
I
breaks we've
I'd
ever
have felt
got.
different if I'd known y'all hadn't taken the test if I got on that plane with you. But, you know.
Depends if you brought cookies or not.
But, you know, oh, man, I could never remember. I mean, it's just too many variations, you know. So I always knew that, you know, if you guys go out the window, I'm supposed to follow behind out the window.
Yeah, that's what we tell people. It'll be demonstrated twice very rapidly.
Yeah, and you know, we
both
follow
from
you.
left and right view.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. And
but
I used to really enjoy having the employees come along and jump seat along. A lot of times I'd let them sit up front with me when we can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
obviously the employees can't go, and those the few that can go with you, they're not supposed to sit up front anymore. But it was a lot of fun. If I knew a kid was working on his private license or an instrument ticket or something like that, hey, come up, sit up front, because he'd have some idea of what was going on.
And you know, the most fun is when you do that, and halfway through the flight, you go, "Oops, that's not supposed to happen."
Well, you know, you know, and I always enjoyed flying up here in the cockpit. Like you said, for 9/11, we had to sit behind the what do you call the wall, the bulkhead or whatever the thing is, you know. But you know, Walter, you're a nice guy. You're a nice pilot. Now, a lot of the pilots are known to be, what's the word?
Less than personable.
Less than personable.
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
That's
Less
a
than
polite way of
personable.
saying it.
You know, so you know, but I never really had any bad experience with any of the pilots there. I mean, did you see the picture of the? I think it was it might have been a 727 or DC-10, where it had the tail was sitting on the ground. Have you seen that picture? The nose is up in the air and the tail is on the ground.
I've taken some like that.
The caption says something about the pilot must have dropped his wallet out the window.
Well, that was the DC-10. Remember, I'm on the Airbus.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
We'd never know the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, hey, what's to keep that tail from falling back here? That's sticking out a long ways past those back wheels. I mean, what if they rolled a lot of weight back there? Would it not?
There are loading requirements, and also the nose has to be tethered, or a weight cart or something like that attached to the nose wheel to hold it down.
I can just see the nose goes up and the cart goes up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, about
Has
last
to be balanced.
Yeah, well, it has to be. Yeah.
last summer we actually had that happen.
Yeah.
Really?
I'll show you the pictures later.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we rode right by it, and all of a sudden you roll through this road with all these noses, and then all of a sudden one of them looks like this,
Oops.
and the rest of them look like something's not quite right here.
Well, you know,
Somebody used Common Core math in preparing the balancing plan.
I think that's what it was.
I you know, flew many times over the years, and I know I was not supposed to do this, but the pilot's the boss, right? What he says you're supposed to do.
Absolutely.
I mean, anyway, the pilot asked me. I was flying to England, and he wanted to know if I wanted to sit in the pilot seat, you know, left seat. He told me. I said, "Well, no." He said, "Get up here, get in here." I said, "Okay." It was kind of an order, but you know, he said, "Just don't bump nothing, you know, don't bump anything."
And you'll be okay.
And the pilot, he left for about an hour. I guess he took my place in the back there and slept. Of course, you know, I had the co-pilot over here. You know, I think he was
asleep
awake.
too?
No, I think
Okay.
he was awake. But you know, I mean, that was interesting. You know, and you know, that's the first time I ever noticed there's not much room under that dashboard or whatever you call that thing in that plane. If I remember right, it was like 2 holes you had to stick your feet up in.
Yeah,
like little
pretty
square
much.
holes or something that you set in. And I thought, this is really uncomfortable. Maybe that's why he left, you know. But
He'd rather you sit there than him.
yeah, I
He
guess.
knew what was happening.
But yeah, I mean, it was interesting getting to live around that stuff. I was never got a pilot license or anything like that. I was always afraid I'd crash, So, but I flew many times with FedEx. So.
Oh yeah.
The difference is that's our office.
Walter, do you have a regular run that you make, or do you go everywhere?
I pretty much stay in. I bid either reserve or just afternoon out and backs.
Pardon my sneeze.
Sorry about that. I could wind up anywhere in Canada, the domestic U.S., Mexico, Puerto Rico, or the northern tip of South America.
Do you do that? Do all that regularly, or just that's your capabilities?
No. If I just bid a reserve line, which is what I normally do, especially this spring with my son's baseball schedule, I take as much time off as I can during the month to go catch his games. But I can either do that, or if I do PM out and backs, where you go out in the afternoon and you come back and we land about midnight, and then I drive home and go back to bed at my house. We actually have one of my favorites is Knoxville. We have a Knoxville out and back. That's kind of holds the exposure down.
Yeah.
I'd rather fly 1 hour than 5.
A lot of pilots. I mean, we don't. How many pilots we have? 10,000, 15,000 maybe? Maybe resumes, I'm guessing, or whatever.
No, it's about 4,400 guys on the line.
Okay, we got 4,400 pilots. And many of them don't live in Memphis, right? I mean, they fly out of here, but they live anywhere from Montana to New York, anywhere, right?
The vast majority do not live here.
Yeah.
I think we probably got, last I heard, was somewhere between 1,200 and 1,500 guys that lived here. Others live. We have other bases too. We have bases in Europe. We have a base in China, Anchorage. So obviously, if guys want to live close to work, that's where they're going to live.
Yeah, we got
do you fly into Chattanooga?
We don't go into Chattanooga on the FedEx trunk routes. I have been in there in a previous life.
We got Dennis here in, let's see, what's his call? NX0IA Dennis. He said mine was a 68 180D. It's on his QRZ page. After that, it got run over by a little bigger plane.
I hope you weren't in it.
Nice plane. If my plane breaks, it better lose a wing for me to want to jump out of it.
Those are nice. Those are fun. Is that he's one with the Cherokee 180?
Yeah.
Those are fun little airplanes to go tooling around in.
Since I rarely wear a parachute, I'm flying it to the ground. Yeah. Well, these small planes like, why don't you just fly it down and right before it hits, jump off?
It's kind of like the elevator thing.
Jump right before impact.
Before the elevator,
yeah, jump up right before it hits the ground.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Every once in a while, you hear about somebody, the engine quits, whatever happens, and they fly down and land in some farmer's field.
Actually, one of the newer safety systems I remember seeing a couple of years ago is actually put a parachute on the smaller planes.
A lot of the experimental, what do they call them? Ultralights,
the Cirrus
death on fabric. Yeah, they actually install. They have the center post that goes up on a lot of those to tie off. For the wings.
Doc's commenting. There's what's the plane, Doc?
The Cirruses have parachutes.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah. That's cool. Who did that? That's not me. That is not me.
Hey, Doc, do you have a Cirrus?
That's Skype. Somebody, not Skype. Let's see. Skype.
Is it my microphone dying?
No, let's see. My mic's working.
Hello.
No, it's coming in on, let me see if I can figure out who it is. It's coming in on Hangout, actually. Let me see if I can. I don't know. Well, guys, we're getting a lot of noise from you. Maybe it'll go away.
Hey, Doc, have you seen that Pilates? Are you familiar with that one?
Go ahead, Doc. It cleared up.
Say again.
Have you seen one of those Pilates airplanes? Are you familiar with those?
No.
It's a big single-engine turboprop, big T-tail, pretty good-sized airplane. Got one turboprop. It's propeller-driven.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
When you said Pilates, all I could think of was an airplane that did exercises.
You're thinking exercise, and we don't need any part of that.
No.
That must be a foreign airplane, right?
I'm allergic to
Plane?
that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that a foreign? I had a friend lived next over there in Arkansas. He had a flying service, agricultural, the fertilizer stuff, and it was kind of cool. He'd
Hey,
take
Tom,
that.
do you ever watch any of those guys do the field crop dusting and all that stuff over there?
Well, yeah. In fact, I was just fixed to say I've got a friend that owned a business over there a mile from my house, and I'd go over and take care of his radios, and he would take that crop duster. And when I had a 1 acre yard, it was 150 by 300 feet long, and he'd come back from putting that urea down, those solid nitrogen. He'd come back and he would do my yard. One pass, he'd turn that thing on, and it would look like it's sleeting. It would do 150 feet wide, 300 feet long, and he'd put down, I think, 200 pounds in a half a second going across there. And that was kind of neat.
I love watching those. I love watching those things when I was living in Memphis.
Yeah, he had mostly air tractors. You probably, I guess his was yellow, but I guess
Right.
they're different colors. But the air tractor, I guess that's full right rudder when you take off because the propeller's turned a certain way, right? You guys know more about that than I do, right?
That's on all of them. All the
No. He had a Russian plane there to take off. It was full left rudder.
Oh, because the prop went the other way.
The prop turned the opposite direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
let me
yeah.
get us back to ham radio
No,
for
okay.
a second.
Ham radio.
I've been sitting here watching my JT65 scroll with all these really cool calls. UT3.
That's Russia.
And EB8 and stuff like that. And I'm looking on Tom's chart, and they're not there. Then I look at the top of the page, and it says DXCC countries list 1992.
There's some new countries since then?
There's a few new countries since then, yeah.
Well, I've got another sheet. I've got another sheet in here that has it just by.
But I'm wondering why I can't figure out who.
What band are you looking at?
40?
40 meters. That's a little.
JT65 on 40.
Yeah, I've never operated that. I usually just do PSK 31, but.
JT65 is pretty cool. Like I said, a few years ago, I didn't know a thing about it. And then once I found out about it, I'm like, this can be fun.
I'm wanting to try it. I don't have very much power on VHF here. I might can get 100 watts with my rig here.
They get mad at you if you run 100 watts on
but I'm
JT65.
talking about doing some EME stuff.
Is JT65 error correcting?
Yes, extremely so.
Yeah. I've got small antennas, the 5-element, but it's going to take a program like this if I expect to try to make a moon bounce contact, even on JT65. I mean, I need a little bit of edge somewhere.
Now, moon mounts, you're going to need some power, but
Yeah,
for standard HF, they get mad if you run more than 25 watts.
Yeah.
Because you wash out the rest of the band. But yeah, I'm sitting here watching the calls, and I'm looking them up on the sheet, and there's no match, and I'm like, what in the heck? And I see 1992, and I'm like, never mind.
Now, Walter, have you worked any digital stuff?
I've got one of those Signal Link.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can receive, but I can't get the radio to transmit for whatever reason. I have no idea what it is.
Well, that's just. Now you're talking about key, or if you hold the key down, will it
key
send
up?
audio, or it won't key up?
Through the Signal Link off the computer. If I hit the macro, whatever you call those things, and it sends my CQ with my call sign.
Does it key your radio up? Does the radio key up when
makes
it
no
does it?
sound. I'm thinking I'm gonna take the little box back apart and make sure all those wires are in right.
Yeah, those jumpers are a royal
It may,
pain.
yeah,
They are.
Because it has to be jumper for your particular mic connector, and it might not be keying it up. That may be.
Make sure you got the right COM port too.
Yeah.
I'm a Mac guy. I don't know anything about COM ports.
Oh man.
Well, there's his first mistake.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, can you convert all this to Mac for me?
Well,
you really, we should talk politics. Who'd you vote for?
So politics
Hey,
is
that's
better
right.
than Macs?
I did vote.
I voted. I saw him. Hey, how about that?
We both voted today.
We both voted today.
Yeah.
I saw him over there.
Yeah, I joke a lot about that.
Yeah.
I work with the school system, and I have to deal with Macs and PCs and Linux and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a mess. The thing is, none of them are any good. I don't like any of them. And the big reason for me and Mac is they cannot be managed at an enterprise level. You got 2,000 Macs in the hands of students. How do you manage them? And then you got 2,000 PCs in the hands of the students.
Oh man.
And now you're eating alive with viruses.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Linux ain't ready for prime time in a
Not in school.
K through 12
On that kind of environment.
school level.
Right.
And so matter of fact, the biggest thing we're fighting now is that crypto locker virus. That is just nasty.
Oh, wow.
It's bad.
But I'm trying to figure out how to get this thing to actually work. To try to do. I want to do some of the digital.
I haven't operated any in probably 20 years.
There's a lot
I've
of
got
folks-
one around here somewhere.
I've watched 20
Is
YouTube
Walter a
videos.
ham too?
What is that?
Sir?
Walter a ham?
Yeah, he is. Okay. Yeah. In fact, we just put an antenna up for Walter here a few months ago. I talked him into getting SG or SC230.
The SG237 coupler.
The auto antenna tuner. We put that right out under the eave of his house and hooked him an inverted L on it and run a coax out to it. And man.
Hey guys, I'm getting ready to call it a
Oh,
night.
okay, Mike. Thanks for
It's
joining us tonight.
midnight here up in the
Yeah.
UP. So.
All right.
Yeah, there's still a bunch of folks.
See you
out
up in the
there.
UP, man. See ya.
Yep, 10 degrees out right now outside.
Y'all have
All
a good
right.
one.
There you go. There's the upper. There it is. I learned that right there. Okay. So hey, WA2JSG.
So, hey, good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks. Good night.
Kurt says he had a crop duster friend who hit a tree. He used duct tape to put the wing, to patch the wing, so he could finish the job. Well, I guess there's nothing wrong with that.
It would work.
One of those flights, those FedEx flights, that was a DC-10. I think it was a 10 that I flew to England. The truck that brings the food in, it has the rail around it. You know, it comes up. It actually cut a hole through the side of the plane that night. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning or 2, or I don't remember what it was. Anyway, it cut a hole inside the plane, and they thought it'd be all right, so they put tape on it. I'll call it duct tape. I'm sure it was a little bit better tape than duct tape, but
Barely. It's called speed tape.
speed tape.
Yeah.
They taped it up, and we flew on down to Brussels that night. And
Remember, safety is paramount.
you know, I think that night it was so much fog that the airport had closed, and the pilot talked to air traffic control, and they said we could land if we wanted to, but the airport was closed. And we landed, and you know, I think 2 weeks later, when I was ready to come home, that plane came back through there to pick me up, and it still had the tape on it. So I was amazed that they would fly a plane for 2 weeks with tape on it like that. What do you think?
I would be surprised too.
Yeah.
I have just chills going up my spine of you can land if you want to. All right, what are my options?
Well,
I can stay in the air until I run out of fuel,
Or go somewhere else.
or go somewhere else.
Just divert.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, you guys. Well, I mean, I guess
Yeah.
all
Land if you
all
want.
airports aren't set up right for landing with
Instruments, yeah.
with instruments, right?
Well, that's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
So,
But you generally have a pretty good idea of if you're going into a different region,
yeah,
where you can go and what your options are.
yeah.
I've been around the airline industry since I was a toddler. My grandfather was a Pan Am mechanic. My cousin was a national flight attendant now, not stewardess.
There you go.
She was a stewardess. And my dad was a mechanic for Eastern Airlines, so I came from a long
Oh
line.
man, I got a bunch of airline guys here
A
with
bunch
me.
of airline
My
guys.
grandmother's cousin actually was in the Pitcairn Mail Wing, flew from Richmond to Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
He was the first chief pilot at Eastern Airline.
Wow.
Yeah, they actually wrote a book about him called Dick Merrill, The Wings of Man.
Oh, I haven't
So-
read that one.
Yeah.
So I always ask these educational questions, you know, to the pilot. You know, I ask him. I mean, you know, if you lost an engine over, you know, we were
Yeah, but
flying
see, you
England.
lost all credibility when you.
You know, if you lose an engine, we're gonna make it okay. And he said he told me that 10, it could have been an MD-11, but I think it was a 10. He told me that it could fly on one engine. He says we may have to fly low, but it'll fly on one engine. So
Yes,
is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that because the air is thicker?
That's certification of the aircraft. They all have to be able to prove they can do that.
And that's because the air is thicker down here. The reason it can still fly.
No, because you can't. Well, yeah.
I mean, yeah, you don't have enough lift to
You don't
get
have
up
enough.
into the.
You don't have enough power to maintain the lift to stay at altitude. You would drift down. It'd be a slow drift down
Yeah, but that means you're going down.
No, but
I
you
mean,
can
he
once you get to a
maintain it.
certain altitude, you can maintain
I
it
guess
with one
the
engine.
air will maybe get thick enough
Yeah.
that
Yeah, the density.
you stay up there, right?
Right.
Oh, that's interesting. So,
I mean, that's just something you practice
Tom,
every
you're
year.
talking about
yeah.
talking about landing that plane at Brussels. You know, a lot of the little airports don't keep their runway lights on at night, and you have to key the mic to get the lights to come on.
Oh, I didn't know that. Walter's shaking his head. Yeah, I didn't know that.
I've
I
done
thought
it many a time.
I thought they had to light those oil pots down the side of the runway.
Or just turn their headlights on down the runway, side of the runway for
Yeah.
you.
What gets me is, you've seen it on YouTube, is, the world's worst airports to land and take off from.
I've been into 3 of those.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
And then there's the video of the world's worst, I guess, crosswind landings.
The 747, the guy that comes in like this and bounces and
The 747 that looks like he's coming in at a 60-degree angle.
yeah,
That's
That
called crabbing.
Yes.
yeah, that would have been exciting.
That's not what I would call it, what I'm doing in my seat when I'm sitting in that plane.
But it would be just a slight difference in spelling.
Yes.
yeah.
I mean, I see some of those, I'm just like, you have got to be kidding.
Well, you
me.
think those wheels turn this way. They don't roll that way.
No, they don't. No.
Some airplanes are actually designed, a lot of
the
the
wheels,
military transports, to land in a slight crab.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just a few.
Yeah, the wheels
a few,
actually
a
will
few
turn.
degrees. They will cant a little bit, or cast, or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever they term it, and then you can continue down the center line of the runway.
But some of those airports, there is no way. You could not get me to fly into that airport, period. Just not going to happen.
Have you seen the one about where the 747 takes the runway for takeoff, and there's a chain link fence about 20 yards behind it?
Yeah.
And the people grab the
Oh, yeah,
chain link
yeah,
fence
hold
with their
it,
hand
yeah.
like that, and when they hit the power for takeoff, all the exhaust that's going out the back side, it will lift
I've
them
seen
up
it.
like a kite, and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
hang on there and just float on the fence.
Yeah,
haven't seen that one.
yeah. Just look on YouTube. You'll find those.
You
there.
can find that one on YouTube.
I remember landing at Gunnison one time to go skiing, and it's in a bowl, and the pilot had to circle down to get into the proper approach.
I've done that in Eagle, Colorado, to go skiing out there. As a matter of fact, a week later when we took off, there was a Learjet parked in the terra firma up there, and we said, what happened to him? So he crashed on takeoff.
Crashed on takeoff.
And it was stuck up in the mountains. So do we really have
We
to
were
go?
out there one time. We were out there one time skiing, and the weather warmed up, and of course that's 6,000 or 7,000 feet up there, and we had to unload all of our ski gear out of the plane so that we could have enough airlift to get up because of the warm weather and the altitude.
I took off out of South Lake Tahoe one day, headed over the water in a 182, and the density altitude was so bad I had to stay almost in ground effect out over the lake just to build up enough airspeed to start a circle climb to get out of there and over the mountains and on our way.
Yeah.
That's one of those. I learned about flying from that. Yeah, you don't want to do that again.
So what's the maximum vertical angle a 310 can do?
Our standard takeoff 17.5 degrees
17.5
of pitch. Now it can go higher than that.
Yeah, but I guess there's some limit there where it's going to fall, right?
Well, that
Oh,
goes
just-
back to that
that
stall
stall
speed
speed
thing you were
thing.
talking
Just,
about earlier.
yeah, just till the houses start to get bigger
You don't
again.
you don't want to exceed your angle of attack. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
man.
I think Walter pretty much hit it. When the houses start getting bigger, you have exceeded the proper angle of attack.
That's right.
you don't want to hear that little buzzer go off.
That's exactly right. At least lucky.
Guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I got to work tomorrow. So
All right.
it's been
Oh,
fun.
say it's not so. Thanks. Good night.
All right, we'll see, Doc.
Well, I have to work tomorrow too, but I'm having too much fun.
We'll see, Doc.
Well, I'm having fun, but I
Yeah.
better go in.
I hear
Talk
you.
to y'all later.
Yeah. Hey, Doc. I watch your show. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying you do this, but why do you even bring this up? No, I was watching Reba, and if you ever seen the show Reba, you got the dentist on there.
No, I don't watch TV.
You don't
but-
watch Reba anyway. Her ex-husband's a dentist, and the
not
daughter
anything
the
on
daughter
the
just
Discovery Channel.
the daughter just got her driver's license, and he's a dentist. She says, "Oh, I know somebody's going to have a root canal tomorrow." We'll see you later, Doc.
Adios.
All right, bye.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You're done with
okay.
that cigar.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, we're going to shut the webcast down. We've been on the whole time. First, let's just go to Star Trek real quick. I don't know,
Yeah, look at this. We managed to do 2 and 3 hour shows
Where-
every time
where'd
I
my
come
mouse?
over here.
I lost my mouse, man. See my mouse anywhere? There,
Yeah.
there it is. Where'd it go? Did it go over to another monitor?
It went over to the other monitor. Yeah, I was trying to visit over there.
Well, look. What? It must be way over there. Look.
Yeah.
There you go. That came back. Okay. Yeah, here we go.
Want to be like a cat and chase your mouse? Is that it?
All right. All right, guys. Good night to everybody. See you later. Over and out and all that kind of stuff. Let's do one of these little. No, that didn't do anything. We put a little thing here at the end of the show if I can find it.
Y'all have fun.
Let's see. Let's try this one.